Bye-bye.
20 miles a day, something.
Yeah. 20 miles a day is our terrible.
Living on freeze-dried food,
Pike or
beef
run?
jerky.
We hike.
I don't think you're losing my weight.
Oh, he's gonna lose some weight.
We're live.
I don't have a lot of weight to lose.
All right, let's go ahead and call meeting to order. We're here today, July the 10th, Public Works Building. And we are here to discuss the budget workshop. Tim, will you take a roll?
Ms. Logan?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Fasagi?
Here.
Ms. Hamilton?
Here.
Mayor Wolf?
Here. All right, Mike, welcome to the jungle, right at the table. We're getting started budget workshop. This is pretty much a back and forth with the council and also input from our financial director and also city administrator and then the council. Just jump in at any time. It's an open type of meeting, so we just need to keep some control as far as when everybody's talking. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. First thing on the agenda is the ad valorem tax projection.
And then I provided everybody with a sheet. It has the 2027 value, and then I've got two columns in there, one at keeping the millage rate at 5.25, and then I've had some conversation to also include a 5.0 millage rate. So underneath those are the projected dollars that we would receive at 97%. We never get 100%. So in the past year's budgets, we've been using a number of 97% as far as projected ad valorem revenue.
Mike, just to lay the land as we start going forward here, we're actually we have in the bank 4,280,000. Is that right?
That's what we've received so far. Last year's projected tax revenue, if we got 100% of it, would have been around 4.7 million. So as of today, we've received 4.2 million. There are
Of our projected what?
4.8, is that what you said? 4.7 was.
4.7. If we would have gotten 100%, would have been 4.7. So right now, we've collected 4.2.
So our shortfall about 400,000.
Right.
So a question about the layout here, like you got obviously the layout, 27 value, 5.25 versus 5.0, but when we move down, I'm assuming those columns we should be able to move straight down. Each mill would represent less under the 5.0, right? Or no, that's the same number.
That's the same number. It's based on the value number.
And then, okay, but then how could the valuation for each quarter mill be such a wide gap? You see what I'm saying at the very bottom?
The 99 and 248.
Right. If it's based on valuation, I would have expected.
I don't think it's that number.
You have a bad number at the 99.
It is, because I think what I was doing was probably trying to compute something else, and I just didn't erase it.
Okay.
I overlooked that because I didn't think we were going to discuss it.
No.
I seem to remember from last year that about 250,000 is what a quarter mil was.
Right.
That's what I was.
That's correct.
Yeah, and it's 248. Yeah.
Okay. I just saw that big discrepancy.
Yeah, I think I was trying to compute something else and forgot to erase it.
Sorry to jump off.
Okay, just as my point is, just as you're looking at that number, we haven't collected the whole 100% to kind of
Exactly.
do this whole
Right.
out. Okay. All right, so with that said, anybody have any other questions on the ad valorem projection?
Yes. So I was reading through the 2025 Mexico Beach report that came from our auditors. and I know that's 2025, but I thought I saw that our expenses were roughly, sorry, I can't find it immediately. Our expenses were roughly $1 million less than our budget.
$1.2 million.
$1.2 million. So granted, that was September 30th of last year, but does that, I guess,
Well, you still have a month or so to.
right, but does that come into effect with this year's budget? I know it's been almost a year, but.
No, because included in those expenses are capital items, which monies weren't spent
I got you.
and that are being carried over.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's the question.
Does that, when Mike says that, that means that, so when you're looking at your number on that last page, if you're looking at fiscal 26, 27, you see the total number at 17,000,009 at the bottom? Everybody see that number?
Yes.
That's the total, that's 26, 27, that's the total, right? You with us, Linda?
I'm about to.
Okay. There you go, right there. Over and under. Right about where your finger is, 17 something? Okay. That's 17,9. There's really, Mike talked about carryover. There's carryover there of $1.2 million.
From
That's what we're bringing from 25, 26 into 26, 27.
monies we budgeted but have not
Did
spent.
not spend.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So then you add to that another 3,300,000. That's where you come up with that 4,552 for 2026, 2027.
Right.
The reason why the number's so big, I think last meeting or the meeting before, Mike had mentioned something was new, that we would be adding in the money that we spend on FEMA to do the pier, to do
The
the jetty, things like that. So big, I mean, that to me was like boom. It was almost a wake-up call, because we're going from 4 million to 17 million. But that accounts for the pier of $9 million, $10 million there, and then another 4 million
The jetty.
in the jetty.
Yeah, so I
Just to set the stage.
and I computed it out to where if you take away the jetty and the pier and the carryover, the true budget effect for 26, 27 is $2.3 million of capital that's requested. And then we're gonna get into that discussion, and I'm sure that 2.3 number will be bantered around and moved or stay the same.
Mike, how did you come up with 2 point something? I had 3 point
Well,
something.
I had 13.3 for the jetty and the pier, and I computed 2.2 million of carryover, so if you subtract that from the 17.9, you get to 2.3.
I must have missed something on the carryover. I only saw $1.2 million on carryover.
I got 2.231 on the
I
carryover.
did mine by hand, you did your budget spreadsheet, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was that number like, 2 point?
So that, yeah, 2.231 on the carryover, so the net effect on the budget would be $2.3 million of capital requested.
It's a lot lower than last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got the Avalon squared away there. Any other questions in that area before we move on to establish millage rate?
And can I interject
Yes, sir.
before? So today's process, what I'm gonna get from the council is some numbers, revenue numbers and expense numbers to be able to complete the budget for Wednesday's meeting. But also we have timelines as far as the trim process is concerned. So if we establish a interim millage rate today, it can be adjusted up and down as we go through the process. But we have a deadline between September 3rd and 18th. We have to have our first meeting that's after 5 p.m. And that's where we discuss the budget and the tentative millage rate. And then Once that's voted on and approved, we go to the next meeting, which has to happen within about 20 days after that meeting. Because after that meeting, I have to advertise. So I have 15 days to advertise, and then we have to have our final meeting 3 to 5 days after the advertisement's posted. So, so there are timelines that we do have to meet within this process.
Thank you, Mike. So move on to establishing the millage rate. Just remember, this is the beginning of our meetings. You got 2 pages that are capital items and carryover items. That's all you're looking at. You're not looking at any other numbers. And the reason you're not is because we have to establish the millage rate and some other things so that Mike can plug that in to do that on the next meeting. The next meeting, you could expect, we're probably gonna go line by line with each one of our heads. Okay. So, with that said, establish a millage rate. The current millage rate is at 5.25. Just want to give you some information before we step in there. The 2021 budget for millage rate for Mexico Beach. Anybody know what it was?
2021?
2021. Take a
was
guess.
it 7?
8. It was 8. 2022 dropped to 7. Dropped to 6.5. Dropped to 5.99. 2024 to 2025 dropped to 5 3/4. Last year it dropped to 5.25, which we're currently at. Anybody know what it was prior to the storm?
4.99.
5.327. So we're actually lower than what we were prior to the storm, so.
Mayor, if I could add one thing to that.
Sure.
You only got the fire department in 2018 as a career fire department, which is obviously a larger expense to the city. So if you compute that into it, your actual ad valorem taxes are down on what you were charging.
What year was that,
because of
Sandy?
the fire department. Pardon me?
2018.
2018 was the first year the fire department, 2018-19 was the first year the fire department
Okay.
basically became part of your taxes.
Good deal. Okay. With that said, I think that the council over the years and the citizens over the years have had an urge to lower the millage rate, lower the millage rate, lower the millage rate, and it's been answered. I think we've done a good job, past and present. So we're going into this budget, and lo and behold, we get thrown a curve. Is that not true? You all know what's going on in the state of Florida. And there's so many unknowns. I mean, I understand the system. I understand that in 2027, we're gonna go to, 150, 2028, we're going to 250 on the cuts. But I think there's probably gonna be a little bit more to it than just that. I think that has an effect on everything that happens at Bay County. So I think that has affect what's gonna happen with fire, with police, everybody. So my pitch is, for this is to say, let's go ahead and leave it like it is, step through the process. We all obviously have an appetite to lower the millage rate. We proved that last year, holding our decision until the last meeting, and then went down another 1/4% to make it a full 0.5%. I'm not saying we have to do the same thing. I'm just saying today, I personally think we need to give direction to the finance director to go ahead and leave it as is. Let us look at everything that's going on, look at the numbers and see if there's anything to get an appetite in the future. The future being weeks, months, until we have these meetings. Anybody want to jump in?
Sure, I'll start. The only thing I'd say is I tend to agree for now, for today. Let's keep it at 5.25 as our target. I think, I'm probably a little bit more bullish on our loss of income to the city if the property tax referendum passes by the voters in November, because Mexico Beach is only 15% homesteaded. So it's not that we're not gonna lose anything, it's just we're gonna only lose a portion of 15% of our property tax revenue. That's not to say we're not gonna have to make some hard choices. But for today, I think we need to keep in mind the water report we just received that shows we have significant aging infrastructure in our utilities. I think we all sort of had that as a hunch, that we've been sort of, we've been limping our systems along, the ones that survived the storm, they've been sort of limping along. Now we have hard data that shows, no, this is broken, this is broken, this is broken, and we have specific needs that this city's gonna have to address, beginning with this next year's budget. So for that, we'll work through that in the next month, but I tend to agree, let's keep 5.25 as our target for today.
Mayor, I just follow up with Eric. I hate to use the term irresponsible at this point, but none of us really know what I'll call the chain reaction impact of what I expect to be. I expect the voters to pass this. It's going to be a done deal. Then the state's got to figure out a lot of things. Consolidation of services. We've all got correspondence from our Bay County, comrades in both Panama City and, Bay County, trying to say, are there ways that we can collaborate and save money, because we know what's coming. I think to do anything today other than to say we're going to stand pat at 5.25, if there was some way after all the scrutiny we could conceivably lower it, but I think even at 15% homesteaded properties here, it's still going to be a significant loss of revenue to the city. And when we think about, we do get some benefits obviously from Bay County, they're going to suffer even to a larger degree. So I think we've got to stay right now for our preliminary discussions at 5.25.
Ms. Lisa?
I agree with the 5.25, just to be cautious.
I also agree with 5.25. I think it would be beneficial for us to publicize what the millage rates have been for the past,
10
say,
years.
10 or 15 years, so that the public sees that pre-storm it was not that low. It has been low way in the past, but that will help them understand that we're not going overboard here. So I would encourage that to go out, just a chart, just a plain chart, to show that. But I agree, having watched all the things that have happened over the years, I would rather start out figuring a higher rate. We can always drop it, and there have been many years when we have dropped at the last minute. So let's just go with a higher rate and see where we go from there.
It's been 6 consecutive years that we've dropped it. So, I'm not saying it needs to stay where it's at. I'm not saying that we don't need to lower it. I'm saying that I obviously believe that this council has a drive from our citizens and from us, from what we see at the table, that it need to be lower, and we lowered it. And maybe we'll continue to do that, and maybe we're not. It's all based on how this budget looks at the end. Not so much at the end, but as we're going through, we get a good feel for what's going on. We demonstrated that last year very, very well, and I plan on the same council doing the same thing.
I think people need to understand that coming back in, it's been what, 8 years since the hurricane. Look how significantly we dropped it in the last 8 years from that. And actually, at one point, way, way back, we had a 10% millage rate. I think that was to pay for the water system, one of the systems that went in, one of the utilities. So we've come significantly far in dropping the millage rate, and I don't think at this point to do the preliminary budget, 5.25 is at all out of line.
Well, and Mayor, Eric hit on the water report. I think this council, we realize very, very well that there's no more kicking the can down the road on our infrastructure. We're gonna have help, probably at the state and federal level, grants from somewhere to do all the 14-inch project. When I started reading through that water report, it was like, oh Lord, you know, where does that money come from? So I think we have to be realistic, and, you know, it's easy. Look, I'm a fiscal conservative. I don't want us to spend a nickel more than we have to. But I think as we look at now and moving forward the next 5-10 years, there's a whole lot of things that have to be done if we want our city to continue to function.
I agree, and I think I'm hearing from the council, same thing Ms. Lisa said, you know, going down is a good decision and nice to make. Not so good to go up, so
Yeah,
we
let's
need to
just
be
start line.
where we're at and go from there. So I think that there's a consensus at the table that we go ahead and keep it at 5.25 to go through this budget.
All right.
Dates and times, still have it, Michael?
Yeah, so our first meeting has to be held between September 3rd and September 18th. And then I have a period of 15 days that I have to post the advertisement. And then 3 to 5 days after that posting, we have to have our final meeting. So I kind of just jotted down some dates. I was thinking our first meeting would be on September 11th.
That has to be,
At 5:01 p.m. And the thing is, and the reason I also selected these dates is we can't have a meeting the same day that the school board has theirs or BOCC has theirs. So BOCC's meeting is 9:15 and the school board's is on 9:10. So these dates that I'm providing, you know, don't conflict with those meetings that those organizations have. So I was
So
suggesting.
September the 11th was the first one?
Yeah, at 5:01 p.m. And then I would put the advertisement on Bay County. We do not have to do newspaper anymore. It can be electronic and put on Bay County's website. So we will electronically post the meeting date on either the 16th or the 17th. And so that means we can have a final meeting Monday, September 21st at 5:01 p.m.
Okay, sorry, it took me a minute to log in. Can I get those dates again? September 11th?
September 11th at 5:01 p.m. would be the first.
Okay.
And then the final meeting I'm suggesting on September 21st at 5:01 p.m.
On Monday. Friday and Monday. Anybody have any glaring,
Not at this time.
me neither, not that this time.
Let's see. September 21st?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a problem.
Okay, city administrator, anything on that? You good?
I'm good for those.
So as long as everybody's good, because Monday Mel and I will go and do the DR 420, which will list our proposed tentative millage rate and our 2 meeting dates. So if we're good for the 11th and the 21st, we will post that, and that's what the information that will go out on the trim statement.
Okay. questions in that area? Anything? Good? Council objectives. Obviously, I heard some of them, and I know that we're already doing some work on some of them, but let's be more specific at each person. Good to start this. Left of the table, Ms. Linda, you want to start?
Well, you know, as far as objectives, since we do have a grant agency that we're working with, you know, how can we present to them more of our needs and try to have them start working on things so we can possibly get grant money that's gonna help us with our budget? I mean, is that,
Well, I think one way that we can do it is once we iron out fiscal year 26, 27 capital items, we can present that to them and they can look at it and say, oh, maybe we can go out and
Yeah,
find
yeah.
grants for some type of these items.
would help tremendously?
I've already proposed at the staff level, a meeting with our grant writers and our lobbyists and our engineers, as well as our staff, to kind of go over, once we know your objectives, we can, you know, bring that list to them and we can all work together to see who's gonna do what.
Okay, yeah.
This portion, I think there's obviously conversation, sewer, water. I mean, update lines, things like that. There's some work being done in that area that to some degree. We just spent 3 or 4 hours on Tyndall Air Force Base going through exactly how things are pumped in, pumped out, and everything else, and it was pretty informative. And there's some things that we have to do. With that said, I don't want to ignore the fact that there's nothing we don't want to add to the CIP, but I think that's where we need to concentrate is on the CIP. What type of things does the council want to add right now with minimal information on
Do you have anything
piping and stuff? Yeah.
specific, Linda, or?
Not really.
So for me, and I shared this with Mel, and I see it as a line item, park upgrades. To me, one of my big ones for this year, and I don't think we need to ignore it. I mean, the two big white elephants are water and sewer upgrades. We'll leave that unsaid, but the big one is, let's finish Parker Park. They're gonna finish that amphitheater. I'd like to see, and there's money in here under the CIP for park upgrades, add some meaningful trees, add some landscaping, add some irrigation to make that a beautiful park, not just an open field with an amphitheater. And that number, what knowledge I have of landscaping, you ought to be able to do a heck of a lot with $175,000. I mean, a heck of a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Steve. One of the things that I understand from the grant writers that type of beautification of the city and things like that is way open to a lot of grants and stuff like that. So we really need to explore that. Maybe we could double that number or half that number by getting these grant writers.
Well, and to dovetail on that, Mayor, and I know Ms. Linda's on the estuary board now, but there's ways that we can beautify that 8th Street Canal and do similar things to what Panama City Beach has done. It's going to involve some money, burying the exit pipe with what she calls an outflow, where it turns up and the stormwater, when there's no big gush of water, it's basically a concrete thing with screen to prevent anybody from getting in it.
Right.
And when the stormwater flows out, it's out closer to the Gulf, and it more or less bubbles up. It doesn't just cut a cavern through the beach, you know, every time we have a 5-inch rainfall. So that could be another thing we could pursue a grant on. It's beautification, erosion control, et cetera, et cetera.
Along with that, we've got a line on the spider.
I'm sorry, are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say, with that, with the whether it's canal beautification or 8th Street in particular, we've got the spider excavator as a line item. We talked about that last year, right? That's still
it's still, yeah.
It's part of a carryover because
Carryover.
it's gonna be purchased this year.
Right, so we're sort of committed to that already. Yeah, my number one priority this year is based on the water report. I guess I do have one sort of long-term thing. I might as well swing for the fences right now. I've been on the council a year, and one of the things that has slowly trickled up as a nagging bothersomeness that this city faces is, I guess I'm wondering if anyone else at the table has noticed that our second most valuable asset that this city has, with the beach being the first. In my opinion, the second most valuable asset we have is the boat ramp. And this city does not own it. Does that bother anybody else? It bothers me.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, what's the option? Clearly, we want to purchase it, or whether that's a sinking fund that's going to take years to build up to a fund that we can purchase it, or if it comes with grants as well. Anyways, I'm throwing that out there. I don't know if we can do a line item for this year to begin a sinking fund to purchase the boat ramp, but I'm just going to throw it
I
out
totally agree with you.
You done there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all, okay.
Totally agree with you on the boat ramp. That, to me, has been an issue since it started. I'm working on something to hand out to the council about a potential option that's way out of the box, but needs to be said. I don't want to try to get into it here, because let me write it down so that you'll have it. But I think that the city is looking at a major issue if we don't find a way to own the boat ramp, a boat ramp, whether it's that one or not. I think we will not be able to buy that boat ramp. But I will get that to you as quickly as I can finish it up.
Word of council, just pass it on to the city administrator, let him do it.
Yes,
and then-
yes. No, I'm not gonna be sending it to y'all. I also am extremely concerned about the rate of not planting the trees. We've got to get the trees back. Not just for beautification, that's part of it, but to help with the stormwater. Those trees sucked up so much of it. And we are seeing damage from not having those trees, both in people's yards and on city property. So that to me is a huge thing. And then my running concern is always the water and the sewer. That's always a major issue.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing.
Nope, can't go there.
I would like for us to look at other sustainable revenue streams. I also will present some ideas on that. Other than just, we've got the beach, we've got fishing and the boat ramp. Is there anything that we can do to generate a long-term stream in industries that are related to environmental or other things that fit in with us? I'm not talking about bringing industries in, but there are other things. Can we position ourselves to start working on that? That's a long-term thing, because you'll have to establish it and then grow it. But I think we need to be looking at that.
Well, we get to talk about strategy planning in about $186,000 expense, so it's something we can talk about in that area, absolutely.
So, I hate to jump back in here, but Eric, when you said that about the boat ramp, and I hate to claim ignorance here, but I know the improvements expansion is funded by a grant, right?
And that gave us a longer lease.
Okay. The improvements we've already made, how were those paid for? the fish cleaning station, the carcasses, and
I'd have to go back and look to see how they were funded.
Do you know?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Not by the St. Joe Company, it was us.
It's pretty much by the city.
So we're paying for improvements or working to have improvements made. Yeah, I think we need to have just an honest, you know, emotional, you know, heart on our sleeve, so to speak, and say, the city really needs to own that piece of property.
We kind of, I can only tell you for the time I've been here, okay, and my conversations with St. Joe, that is almost a comical moment when we sit down at the table, because it's the first thing said. We have to have ownership. Is that not true? I mean, every time we sit down, I've sat with 3 city administrators with St. Joe Company, and it's the same conversation. I don't know if they have a plan to do that. I think Mexico Beach has to come up with a plan and present it, because I don't think they're perfectly happy with what's going on. We're investing, building it up, doing well. There's been some changes at St. Joe Company, so we don't have the same contact that we used to. We're kind of waiting to see who they're gonna appoint, so that we can invite them in on a couple different subjects.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, but I think they know they've got the upper hand here. I remember we had a St. Joe representative here a year ago talking about the parking lot on Canal Parkway. And even this person who's probably pretty low on the organizational chart, but not one of the higher ups, even he made an offhand comment that I caught that said, you know, we own the boat. I mean, it's almost like a mafia don. Hey, it'd be terrible if you know,
Something
if
happens.
something were to happen, right? So that comment set wrong to me, obviously, but it got me thinking. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, what city wouldn't want to own a valuable asset like that? And so I don't see a path forward, but I'm just saying maybe we need to start thinking about planning for a path forward.
Well, and I'm trying to look on the other side of that equation is, as a developer, and Mel, you may know, I certainly don't, how much land is actually associated with that boat ramp? You know, because right now it's become somewhat landlocked because you have the apartment complex, we'll call it to the northwest. You have homes and city streets on the other side, so it's not like it's a large parcel of land. I do understand it probably connects undoubtedly to more property that they own to the north.
Yeah, to them, they look at it 150 acres versus the 5 or 6 that it is.
Exactly.
Well, now don't forget, and this is all subject to change, but the consistent plan that they have presented in all the different iterations of what they're gonna build there is to put the retail on that vacant land between the apartments and the boat ramp and spread it around the boat ramp. So if you add retail of any kind to that immediate area of the boat ramp, then you have no new set of problems with traffic flow and boat trailers coming in and out with pedestrians walking to shop. I mean, the plan that they have is to build it to what they want around the boat ramp, not what the city needs for the boat ramp.
But
So,
there again, and I do remember Eric's reference to a meeting and they had a representative. And the words, I heard him very clearly. Nothing, they had no south side development plans in the next 10 plus years or north side development plans in the next 10 plus years. So for us to just say the status quo is fine, I think right now we don't really have a choice, but I think collectively we could say 20 years from now, there's not going to be fewer people launching boats at that boat ramp. So having that extra, however many acres, 4 acres of parking over there to the north of the ramp itself is hugely important. And protecting that for future use of that canal and all, because it is part of what the city's about. And a big part of it,
It is.
so, anyway.
Yeah,
not really.
and I would hope that, and I wanna believe that St. Joe Company knows that, and that's the reason why we have a lease that goes out to 43,
46.
46, police have got 46. I'm hoping they're thinking that way too, that if they extracted that from Mexico Beach, just pull it out, say, oh, boom, it's shut down, that would be just terrible for the city of Mexico Beach, and I don't see their heads there, I don't.
Well, and here's the bad part to Ms.
Yeah,
Logan's point.
exactly.
If that ever happened, the city doesn't really have an option for another boat ramp. I mean, there's just not one.
Well, we have one for one.
Miramar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not an option.
That's it.
Not a good option.
Well, let me just interject, and this is a personal note on this. I have watched and written about and researched, but mostly interacted and watched the St. Joe Company for 25 years. And I can say personally, they are not keeping Mexico Beach's needs uppermost in their mind. They are about the St. Joe Company. They're a corporation, that's what they do. But they are not thinking of what is best for Mexico Beach in any of this. And they have broken so many promises in Gulf County in the last 25 years. And they will not be looking to make a boat ramp that is something that can be shared with the city. Now, this is my personal observation, that we need to find some kind of solution, whatever it is, to secure the future of that boat ramp. Because if you will remember, when we were having back and forth with them about the temporary parking lot, they immediately published a list of things that they had done for the city. And top of that was the boat ramp. But we controlled the boat ramp, was their motion. And they let us know in that what they published in no uncertain terms, it's on their terms.
Well,
So,
you know, I hear that, and back to something you said, Mayor, I also know that they have a reasonably new CEO, and I want to give people credit for doing things a little bit differently. It's just like whoever follows me or you or anyone else. In a corporation, the head man, when that seat changes, whether, you know, it's a man or a woman, they come in with different ideas. So let's not hold grudges over anything. I say let's give them the opportunity for us to be sincere and say, we'd like to partner with you, we need this to secure the future of the city. It doesn't mean that they're not gonna benefit. I can't see a way that it would benefit them to shut that boat ramp down.
I think the city administrator is kind of sad, and I agree with
Yeah,
that.
so I think let's find a way to own it. If it takes 5 years to accomplish it, fine.
Yeah, we have security for 20
Yeah.
right now. So we need to have a plan long-term that we don't have to extend that.
Right. So,
Good point. Anything else, Ms. Logan?
no, thank you.
All right, I had a couple things. Number one, we're gonna have to look for a city administrator next year, so
yes.
we're gonna put some money in there for that. I pulled out, I don't know whether it was a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever time it was, we went to recruiters and I looked at 2 recruiters' requests that I personally just asked for myself. You know, kind of what was going on, how much would it be, how does it look? And it looks like it ran somewhere between $30,000 to $40,000, depending on who you go with. There was also, right towards the end there, some conversation with Mark Ryan. out of Tallahassee. He's in charge of the Florida City and County Management Association, and also the city manager and administrators. He's one of their senior advisors. He had a plan that, that he wrote up. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the city administrator and the city clerk. And if you guys wanna take a look at it, you can do that. And I'll also give them the two recruitment proposals. You can look at both of those. But I would suggest we put in $35,000 in for that.
Was he the gentleman that showed up and said, hey, I'm retired and I offer this for free?
Yes, sir. Now, the only thing, I mean, I don't give an opinion on it, my opinion on it is, it brings us back to the same thing we were. It brings us back to, we have to go get the resumes, we have to do all that. But then we give everything to him and he makes an assessment versus the recruiter, and we've all worked with the recruiters before, I'm sure, in business. They go out and find the people and bring them to you. So, we have to decide what we'd like to do.
This was obviously prior to me being on the council, but it seemed like I recall discussion prior to, Mel was serving, help me with this, Mel, but I think you were already serving as an interim, and the council was talking about what to do. And Mayor, I think the 2 or 3 or 4 firms that came to the surface and they talked about this kind of money, and I was in the audience, and I remember Mr. Ryan being here and making his little presentation. But I remember at that time the consensus of the council was, we need to separate ourselves from reviewing resumes. We'll let someone else professional do the deep dive, the deep background checks, bring us 4 to 6 candidates to interview that they've already completely vetted, and then the council can make an informed decision. And I had the opportunity when I was on P&Z, and actually when I was on Charter Review, to work with Mr. Ryan. He's the utmost of a professional, knows city operations in and out. As someone who spent their entire life doing it, you would expect that. But I'm just saying that my personal opinion is, I don't like spending the money, but I also think that we owe it to the citizens to give it the full professional treatment this time.
I just don't want to get together and find out that we need to go the $35,000 and go outside. But I sure agree with you as far as the assessment of Mr. Mark. My time with him,
Well,
I mean, the guy is very knowledgeable. And you can see in this proposal, there's more than one option, there's a couple options on it. So
Right.
you guys take a look at it and then we'll discuss it further. But for this budget process, I think we need to put some money in there.
So I agree. This is just a budget process. It doesn't mean we go through with it. I'd like to remind us, a year ago, we said, gosh, we really need a turnaround at the end of Canal Parkway. And we waved our hands and we threw in $150,000. And what did it cost in the end? It cost $14,000. And we used the majority of those savings to pay for the tornado damages in October. And we still have money left over. So if we throw out whatever you think is appropriate, Mayor, I think $30,000 is appropriate for just the budget line item. Nothing's saying that we're going to spend that money.
Right. Agreed?
Yeah.
I agree.
I think we definitely fit in with those.
We got that. Yep. The other thing I had was, I did see we had the Foley land in there. But there's also been some conversation about some other land. One was the parking lot behind the condos. One was the St. Joe Company leadway into Nanook.
Into the 25 acres.
So there may be some opportunity for some other land purchases. Is that something we should budget for?
These put on the long range plan on this, because this is a 5-year plan, so it could be budgeted this year or it can be next year.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was just gonna say, based on the Baylor Lane meeting, I think we owe it to a lot of people to budget for the Nanook Thruway, bike path, golf cart.
I was gonna chime in and say, I think we need to make that a priority, because regardless of what happens, we're already, Mr. Sloan's working on the deed for Joe Drive. And the St. Joe Company's already said that once we kind of get ready to go, they would consider granting us easement or right of way. I think it'd be smart to just acquire that little triangle line. Then we can access for construction to our city-owned property, and it would give us the ability to create a path for pedestrians and carts to cut through to Nanook. And gives the city an option to have, as Ms. Logan says, more green space, which we need. You know, we don't want a developer to ever come in there and say, we're gonna build another 75 homes back there. So that's just my thoughts. And as far as the parking lot, I don't know where the lease agreement is on that, but I think what we initially talked about, I think it's Dr. Spillers owns that, right?
Correct.
Just have the lease written so we had first right of refusal should he decide to sell it in the near term. I think going forward, this is just me as one council person, I'd be comfortable staying in that lease for 5 to 10 years if he's good with that. And then maybe the city just puts some money in here to maybe look at acquiring some land in the future, should that ever come on the market. Just my thoughts.
Okay. So not so much for the year in place coming. The year in place coming for Foley is probably accurate. I would imagine that's something.
And what land is the Foley
Are
land?
we talking just?
Right here,
Oh, this one.
extension of public works.
So that 400,000 is kind of what his number is on that.
That's his number, we had it assessed at 375, 370. So,
It's just the storage area, not the house.
correct. So that's in there, I get, we're not talking about leaving that in there, I'm talking about additional. Is there anything additional we want to put in? If not, that's fine, if so,
Do we have an estimated number for that? I guess we can call it the Nanook access piece that we're talking about?
At this point, no.
No, okay.
Have we approached St. Joe about carving out a triangle's worth of land there between St. Joe Drive and
A
Nanook?
conversation this week.
again, we're still waiting for some players to get in position too, so that's kind of weird. Let's go ahead and just make a note of that, Mike,
I did.
and I think we can go further into the budget and get some more information in the next week or so, as far as what something like that would cost us. We're probably looking at an additional $500,000, I'm sure.
So the land here, the 400,000 that we see in the sheet right now, that's just us. It's not like the owner is really anxious to sell it.
We went after him, we pursued him.
So there again, just me as one council voice and one citizen. I think that's a great idea, but I would, if we're gonna budget 400,000 or pick a number that we're gonna budget, I would want better access via Joe Drive to my 25 acres as a higher priority. Because I think we as a council, and I don't wanna go down a rant here on FEMA or any of that, but I think we pretty much as a council feel like, and Mel, you tell me if I'm wrong here, we're not gonna wait another year playing Texas two-step on our 25-acre project before we just simply say, we're gonna go do it. I don't think we can look at our chief, and we can't look at the people that live here and say, 8 years post-hurricane, and we can't get our police and fire station. Our guys are still operating out of a shanty here, basically at Public Works, no offense. And we need that done. So I would prioritize that land and that access and we're gonna, I think it's a thumbs up or thumbs down, FEMA, tell us something, and we'll go to state appropriations and FEMA, outside of FEMA, we'll find grants to make that happen, so that hopefully within 18 months, we're turning over dirt out here to get that going. Because it's gonna be a year long or more construction anyway.
We had a conversation with our engineers just yesterday about calling it a capped project. In other words, get it to a certain point, then FEMA pays us X number of bucks, and it's on us to get the additional funding to get it across the finish line. And so,
Whatever we have to
but
do.
there's a couple more things we gotta work with FEMA first to get to that point.
I just don't want that couple more things to next budget season, we're sitting here going, we still don't have an answer. That's my only point. So
Well-
that's why I was prioritizing that land over this land.
I agree with Steve to prioritize that, whatever it takes to get access and municipal complex started over the Foley property. It would be great for the city to have the Foley property. And I think that should be a pursuable
Go.
long-term goal or mid-range goal, but that municipal complex has got to get done.
Yeah, I don't think one relates to the other, really. I mean,
Well-
one's a land purchase for public works, and the other one is police and fire. I mean, 25 acres, that's a whole access issue, that's what it is.
Well, and Mayor, I think we all understand our public works, and I'll include water and sewer in this discussion. Once the fire department's out of here, there's more usable access for other departments. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword here. So whatever we've got to do to get that project moving, we got to get moving.
All right, so we'll, hold on to the Foley property, look into the St. Joe property. We won't budget any money this meeting.
Sorry, just to be clear on this topic, so we're talking about land purchase for the 25-acre site, not the 25-acre site, but the approach to it, correct?
Right.
Well, so I think that's line item number one we consider, but isn't line item number two, we also have to consider the improvements we have to make through the floodplain on that property that FEMA won't pay? Is that a second budget item that we throw up on the 5-year plan?
It's a different access system.
At this point, there is a potential that FEMA could help fund some improvements of that road, but that's just very preliminary discussions. So,
Yeah, so for that reason, do we add this second budget line item, just in case the city has to cover that? Just a thought.
I don't think it's a bad idea to perhaps add that as a second line. It can always be deducted.
Or we find out later we don't need it.
But it wouldn't hurt because that is a priority, is to get that access through there. So, yeah.
Okay, access to St. Joe is on the table. We're not putting a number on it, is that right? Because we can't.
We don't know what the number would be,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can't put a number on it.
Added it.
So, okay. And then we'll get some more information. All right, the only other one I had was, and it's just more of a personal, I don't like the roundabout, something has to be done, and I think the council took care of that. I think when we come into our city, I think you need to see something that is representative of the city. Both our entrance, and I know we tried to pretty up the signs and everything else, we've done a good job at that, really have, for what we're working with. But I think it's time, I think we're mature enough that we need to have some type of city entrance. You know, a block wall, I don't, maybe a water feature, maybe some lights at both ends of our city. We're a major highway coming in, there's one way in, one way out. And you're presented to Mexico Beach by these wooden signs, and I just think we're beyond that. So, I'd like to see us do something in that area. Any comment?
Well, you know, I'd be concerned about the expense of that. You know, we got so many other things that we're focused on.
Well, we're talking about beautification, we're talking about trees, we're talking about stuff like that. Is that something you wanna do?
Well, I mean, once again, can we get grant money to help with that?
Probably.
DOT has beautification grants that we could probably tap
Yeah,
into.
probably.
Yeah, Mayor, and I think that's not a bad idea. I mean, because, tell me if I'm wrong, our signs are actually not on the right of way, are they? Or are they on the right?
I think the one by Tyndall is.
Yeah, I think it is.
So if we're gonna do a beautification, I'd like to see it be, you know, and there again, I'm very much aware that if DOT can give us some money to help with that, great. But it ought to be something more representative, and, you know, I hate to keep going back to the whole tree thing, but it should include some meaningful foliage and lights, and I'm not talking about Las Vegas lights, I'm just talking about aesthetically at night, and then something that's visible during the day. You know, you can drive right by the signs now, going east and west,
And
and not even see it.
Some block wall with some lights on it that, you know you're coming into a city.
Right.
You travel from Port St. Joe all the way through to Mexico Beach and barely know where the heck you're at.
Right.
I'm supportive of it only if it doesn't cost the city a dime. If it comes from grant funds, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have to agree with that one. I have never been one who was intrigued by having such a there you are entrance
Well,
on either end. I mean, to me, part of the beauty of Mexico Beach, and this was also all the years before the hurricane, was you come out of the Tyndall Woods and you came out past the Tyndall boundary and you had woods on either side, and then all of a sudden you fell into this glorious little town that was a surprise. And to me, that was what Mexico Beach was about. So having a grand entrance is not.
I think the beautification thing though, and you hit on DOT, and we've heard these conversations before about, Lisa, I know you were part of it, the little meeting at Driftwood, but things like, we're back on the tree thing, a shade corridor along 98, something that, to your point, used to when you drove into the town before hurricane, it was like, here's the beach on this side, and there's trees everywhere, and it was just, and now, even though we've built back so much, it's still what I call a stark landscape.
Oh, it is.
It's just, you got big homes popped up here and there, and, you know, it's just, what can we do to aesthetically, not just improve the entrance, but if we're going for grant money, let's do something that makes the whole town look good.
One of the most often heard comments of those earlier years for me was, I never knew that forests, and remember, those were all pine forests, I never knew that forest could grow right down to the beach. I've never seen that, and it was a point of fascination for so many people. So, while, you know, we can consider planting a whole bunch of pine trees if we own the property, and there was no building around for the pine trees to fall on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pine trees, they're great.
Till the wind blows 150 miles an hour.
Until, but you don't want them planted where they're gonna do the damage. So, you know, that kind of thinking to me is more of a welcoming entrance. But,
You know, every time we bring up, when you bring up, I get cringes when you talk about planting a bunch of trees on 98. Reminder, this is the Sunshine State. People are paying more than $500,000 for a lot to have a view of the water. They don't want a bunch of trees in front of their house. Then when the hurricane comes, they're gonna go through their
I
doors.
didn't say.
But, you know, you've mentioned that several times about we already have palm trees on the water side. That looks aesthetically pleasing. But I don't think we wanna have another path on the other side of the highway with a bunch of trees. And that's how I interpret what you say every time you
Well,
say that.
I'm sorry.
Great for the parks and all, yeah, we need the trees there, but not on the highway.
Well, that's my point, Linda. I'm not talking about lining the entire city, but there's pockets like, there's no homes in front of Parker Park. We could plant native cypress near that water out there. Those things would grow like,
60, 70, and
Oh,
100 feet
cypress,
tall.
yeah,
and they're wonderful. They stand up to the wind. They don't snap off like pine trees.
that's right.
And of course, we don't want to plant trees on the right of way in front of beach homes. But it goes back to, as a town, we've not done a great job of enforcing ordinances. And people built all these new homes and they go out there and they put these little trees in for years. And the young people in this town will never live to see a forest out of those trees. They've got to be meaningful sized trees. And if you have pockets of those, we're never gonna make it look like it did before Michael. But if you have little pockets of forested area, that's why Parker Park looks so bad. It's just a
Flat piece of land.
flat piece of land. And so much of our town is still a flat piece of land. So no, I'm not talking about blocking people's view of the ocean. No. And the east end of town,
Yeah,
I don't care if we put any down through there. But out this way, where there's some commercial stuff, where we could create some shade and not impact that $1 million view, fine.
well, you know, we have 80 acres, we have 25 acres, we have 3 parks. That's where we want to put our trees.
Yeah,
In those
and we don't
areas.
wanna put 4
And, you
footers.
know, we talked about memorial trees as well, you know, people, instead of benches, people could help in that way to add the trees to those areas.
Think about that, because we could talk about that in the next council meeting. So, that'd be a good one to go over. Let's go and move on from the city thing. There's a possibility we could look at some grant money. I'll ask Grant some questions on that area, and then I'll bring it back to the council. See what we say. So don't add anything to that line item. The only other thing I had, and I did see it on here, I had the generator, the city generator. The 60,000 enough for that?
That was the guesstimated price. Where Sandy had somebody come out and just take a look at how much it would take.
I went to one of the contractors in town to get an idea so that we would come to you with a real amount of money. And he came back with an estimate for all work necessary to do that at just shy of $60,000. So that's why we basically rounded up to $60,000.
Just sounded really,
We could kick it up just to be safe, because once you get it out, you don't know.
Yeah, that sounds low to me. I say double it. Because the way government is, it's gonna cost more by the time.
that's a city-wide generator, I mean, that's a huge generator. In
Well,
case,
it's just for the city hall.
Just the whole.
No.
If you
in
have one
case
of that
down there,
area,
Yeah, the big one, you know, just to the east of this building here, takes care of all of this, all of the water plant and everything there. It's sufficient for just this building.
So it's really just so that, the other day when we had the tornado, and we obviously lost power within the city because of the interruption to the power lines and so on and so forth, we were then left at a standstill trying to get all the paperwork and stuff done for the impact to the city by that tornado. And we suddenly realized if we only had a generator attached to the building, we'd all be at work doing everything we need to get done to get this done. It just slowed us down. And it's something that it got neglected post-hurricane. It's as simple as that. And
So-
we need to fix it.
So this generator is just for City Hall?
Purely 100% just for City
Okay.
Hall. It will basically sit on the eastern end of City Hall where the power lines come in.
Okay.
Well, maybe 60,000 would be enough. I mean, we're not talking,
It's a 45 kW generator.
yeah, it's pretty big.
yeah, but still. Yeah, City Hall doesn't draw that much power.
I would at least budget 90 for it if they said it's 60.
It's still that plus, enclosing it, making a pad, I mean, there's a lot to
The
it.
concrete pad was included, but any enclosure beyond that was not included. So it wasn't beautified. It would literally be a generator on a pad, raised to the right height for.
Exposed to the salt and everything else.
Yeah, we're far enough away from it.
Well,
It's not a major issue to it.
I don't know, maybe I have PTSD from the Bailey Lane meeting where we started with 2 change orders, right? There's gonna be a change order. So, I'm just saying.
I think 75 is a better number.
As long as I'd be upset if you said, no, we're gonna put 20,000, because then we know it wouldn't happen.
I mean, I did this stupid thing when online, it just started to check, and I think 75 is one line.
That's fine. We just keep it to ourselves, so when we go out for bid, we don't tell them
Yeah.
20.
Yeah, don't tell them.
You got 75.
All right, so you increase that to 75. That's the items I had. As we went around the table, we had the conversation. Any additional thoughts? Mike, any comments on CPI?
No, I mean, it's, ready for the next item and start going down. I added, under council objectives, what, to at least put it on here, and
Okay.
so it does not lose visibility in the future. But also, I did hear a lot of, coming from the finance side, a lot of talk of grant funding for this, grant funding for that. We have a good organization that will go out and look for grants, but they're only as good as what we communicate to them. So I think we need to have and this could be a start, we need to have a roadmap that we can present to them and say, this is our goals, this is what we want to look for, now go take care of it. Instead of, because I know a lot of conversation happens here. January does a lot of work on grant stuff for some smaller projects, but I do think we need to have a liaison with the city that pushes the company to actually put something in front of them so that they know what to go out and look for.
Well, I think the meeting that the staff's gonna have and everything else putting together,
Right.
the lobbyists and everything, it's gonna give us a little bit more direction of what's required from the council.
Yeah, and it has to happen beyond that meeting as well. So we have to constantly let them know that this is what we're interested in and looking for.
So I'd like to advocate that we do the exact same thing for the lobbyists. We have a new lobbyist. I have personally.
He's included.
You know, we're included on it.
Okay, so lobbyists and.
And engineers as well.
Okay, good, because, I think twice in the past year, I saw a news article, item that said Gulf County got $1 million from the state for utility and water sewer improvements. And then somebody else, I think it was Bluffstown, got the same thing. So that, to me, is the avenue for the lobbyists to go to Tallahassee and chase that utility money down, because we've got a water report now that says we need a lot of improvements.
It's already on their radar.
Okay. All right, going down the 2 pages of capital improvement plan. Any, rather than going through them line by line at this point, and I'd be more than glad to do that if everybody wants to do that. We have some department heads here that give us explanations of why they have it on there, or we can just go through it and see some items that you may have picked out. How do you want to approach it?
We did it line item by line item last year, right?
I thought that worked pretty
Thought that
good.
was fine.
All right, starting on the top. Public Works.
Do you want to call the public works?
Help me out now, come on.
Get some blood in your knees.
Morning, council. So I guess the first one is a dump truck. We need a dump truck. We have a trailer out there now that just doesn't, it's just not working out for us to get our shells delivered and debris pickup. You know that we're getting the Spider excavator. A dump truck would definitely work out to pick up debris and take it to the transfer station.
Will this enable us to cut any costs with the sometime agreement that we have with the guys that pick up?
Yes, sir.
They have a pickup in the back of theirs.
Yeah.
We use the excavator in the back of it, or?
We can use the Spider excavator to pick up the debris to put in the back of the garbage truck and haul it down there ourselves.
Dump truck.
Dump truck.
What is the delivery scheduled for the spider excavator, and can we budget and have the two arrive at the same time?
The spider excavator should be here at the end of the month, not next week.
Okay, so,
We're watching a video of it, a Zoom video on Monday, and then they'll ship it over.
okay, so,
And the spider excavator was budgeted and paid for out of some capital item savings funds that we had. So that money is, like I said, it's gonna be a carryover this year because we're buying it this year.
Right.
But that money is basically bought.
It's bought, it's
okay,
bought.
so the dump truck won't be here by the end of the month.
Well, the dump truck still has to be approved.
Still gonna be approved.
Let me just ask a simple question. The excavator, travels like a tractor,
It has 4 wheels and it does, yes.
so it doesn't travel like a car.
It does. I mean, it doesn't need a trailer to move from place to place. I mean,
Our current pickup in a dump truck has a system in the dump truck.
we have a dump trailer is what we have out there.
Right, but if you're gonna get a dump truck and make the pickups that are currently being done by somebody that we subcontract to pick up, he uses a truck with a lifting
Lift.
station inside of it.
Yes, yeah.
You're suggesting using a dump truck and having the excavator follow behind it.
Not just for the debris, but for hauling shells, for hauling our dirt. We have nothing.
Well, no, I get it, I get the dump truck.
Right.
I'm saying that you want to use it the same way as the subcontractor. It's not
It's
not
not
the
as
same,
efficient.
yeah. And is it good for that $500,000 excavator to be traveling through the city?
I got another question. What size truck for 200,000 and that, do you have quotes?
I have quotes.
What size truck?
It's going to be 16 yards, 33 ton. So
So a CDL. If it's that big, you got it.
it's a CDL truck.
Yeah.
You got
So
air
it's
brakes for one thing, and you get the 33 ton. So
Right.
it will be a CDL truck.
My point is, the excavator is useful for, we funded that to use for other things other than this. This could be another option.
Another
But
option
the
for the
stress on
driver.
it could be huge as far as following around town all day.
It's going to be driving around clearing out ditches.
What's the cost of putting a lift in the back of a dumpster? The same as
A
our,
debris truck is not that expensive because you wouldn't have to have one as big as Mr. Garrison has.
You know, we're gonna be picking up our debris in the future. Then we're beginning making changes with, maybe with sanitation, where another company is gonna be picking up the debris and we're not. Now what are you gonna do with the debris truck? With a dump truck, you can use that afterwards. I mean,
I'm not, I'm good with the dump truck.
okay.
I'm not good with the process that you wanna follow one vehicle, you know, $500,000 vehicle behind a $200,000.
Well, they used to do this,
There's a lot of stress on that
they
vehicle.
used to do it in other cities. They used to have a grappler truck with a dump truck in front of it and do it twice a week.
Can you put the lift on the dump truck? That's my question.
Not really.
Not really.
It can't be done.
So I've got another
No.
question, because I do know residential debris and ditch debris are two different things.
Yes.
And I don't dispute that we do probably need a dump truck. But I do think, and I don't know about backhoes, but I do know traditional excavators, can you get a fund for our backhoe? So that you could use it to pick up debris and put in the dump truck?
I don't think you can with a regular
Backhoe.
backhoe. I don't think you can change out. See,
Because
that's
I'm like the mayor, a $500,000 machine following a dump truck around to pick up yard debris sounds.
I'm not saying you would do that, I mean, every day. That's not what the spider excavator is for. Good point. But on those days where you got debris out there
Big pile.
that we can't pick up, and they're big trees, send them out there, pick it up on the back of the truck, and have a nice day. I'm not saying it's gonna be an everyday thing with the excavator. It's not. That's not what it's made for. The excavator is for clearing ditches.
Somebody's doing a route because we pay to have that picked up currently.
Correct.
So
so that's my question. My question is a financial question.
Mhm.
If we get a $200,000 dump truck, how much are we paying it's Garrison, right? How much are we paying Garrison monthly? And so what's the buyback period?
Let me summarize this for you real quick. We're looking at sanitation company to come in and do our sanitation for us. Included in that bid is yard waste. It means we won't have to mess with yard waste again, except in the case of a storm. At that point, all bets are off. We may have to use this spider to help during storm cleanup and that sort of thing. Right now, we're not using Mr. Garrison at all. There's not enough yard debris in this facility, in this city right now, to have him make any money doing it.
Got it.
So he is backed out of it. That happened just this last month. So right now, our guys are going around picking up yard debris, usually on every other Wednesday.
Yeah.
And if we contract with someone to pick it up in the future, then that's included in our sanitation fee. So at this point, there is no desire to have the spider excavator follow the dump truck around every other week for yard debris.
No.
At all.
So that's not the justification of the dump truck.
No.
The justification of the dump truck would be
To move dirt around, shells around.
small pickups that can be thrown in the back.
And stuff from the ditches, the spider excavators picking
That
up.
digs out. Because you're gonna have debris left over when the spider gets in there. You're gonna have to put it somewhere. Put it back in the dump truck.
Makes a lot more sense. I mean, my question was, you know, to,
That was, no, not,
To
have the
Mel-
spider, no.
my question to Mel was, you know, is how many cities have dump trucks?
All of them.
All of them do.
All of them do.
So,
Basically,
it's pretty obvious, yeah.
So how many, actually, I've got a really good question, I think. How many guys do we have with the appropriate license that can drive this thing?
Quite a few.
Okay,
Quite a few, including myself, so.
okay, well, that's good, okay.
So, we have quite a few CDL drivers here.
All right, we got through number one.
All right.
No, that was actually one in three. One in three, you did there.
Well, we're pretty much committed to 3. We talked about,
Yeah, it's already been.
Yeah, the bucket truck.
I guess we're just moving that over. I mean,
Yeah, that's not in 26,
No.
27.
no, sir.
what is the purpose of the bucket truck? What's the use case?
The bucket truck we trim the palm trees and put up Christmas tree lights. Ornaments on the,
And the one we have is pretty old and,
what's that? The bucket truck?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's 27, 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 3-year project that will purchase at the end of that time. So we're talking still 4 years out for the purchase.
Do you want to beat them up over this, spider excavator?
No.
No,
We're good.
we're done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
We've got the death.
Yeah.
Jed, you're on drainage upgrade.
And we decide with that, Mike, just, I
Yeah,
know
it's gonna start in 27, 28,
28.
putting funds away.
yeah.
What's the nature of that? Just civil engineering, repairing, upgrading?
Upgrading.
All of it?
Absolutely, yes.
So the next two are this budget year items.
So surface repaving and,
We're gonna need to pick a street that we wanna pave and find out what it's gonna cost.
didn't we have 200,000 last year and we blew through it pretty quickly?
Part
We
of
actually
Yeah.
carry over.
Part of it's on Bailey Road.
Part of it's on Bailey Lane.
Part of it's on Bailey Road.
Yeah,
Well, I wasn't gonna bring that up.
Yeah, you were going there though.
we actually budgeted for it, carried it over, and then hustled to get it done.
That's right.
So,
No, we actually used the prior year's money, hurry to get that done, and then the
Mhm.
current year's money, hurry
Then
to
we
get
used,
that
and we
done.
used it.
so the question I had, and I was thinking about, because paving is expensive, brutally expensive.
Brutally.
And you always have work that needs to be done unless somehow you got a major grant, you repave the whole city, I think, like right after the hurricane, there was a large portion that got repaved. But I think we'd be remiss if we didn't start budgeting serious money for, because it's maintenance. I mean, that's what it is.
No, I agree. I can name 10 streets in town right now that need it. So.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Annual vehicle?
Yes.
which one?
We had this discussion last year. though.
Yes.
We did, that's right.
Yes, yes. You know, we lost 2 vehicles in the tornado, and we have one over there at 14th Street. Now you put oil in the motor and it goes straight out the bottom.
So that's what I remember from last year. is
Yes.
We committed last year to do it this year because
And going
things
forward.
started falling apart and the mayor rightfully said, we need to put this in capital.
Yes,
It don't
in
need to be
January, and
replaced."
Troy worked on a list, and they've got a list of, and
And that's why on that list is you basically got one truck for this year, one truck for the following year, one truck for the year after that. So it's basically a fleet replacement plan
So-
over the next
The
5
future
years.
plan, the true future
True.
plan.
There it is.
Good job.
yeah.
So I guess my question is we're saying one this year, and is it gonna replace the oil guzzler?
Well, I was really gonna get 2 or 3, but I mean,
That's one in roads.
if that's the road, yeah, that's in,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you'll see.
That's in road.
that in Parks and Rec.
Everything
That's
Parks
the
and
same
Rec.
thing
Okay,
next.
all right, very good.
Yeah.
There's so many other departments. But it's also the same planning from
Yeah.
last year.
So-
All right,
Yeah.
you're up, good.
So we don't have to talk about it every time. I noticed in looking through here, the $60,000, I guess we're buying similar, or the same vehicle when we're talking about replacing.
So we're gonna go with the little bigger vehicle, the 150 or 1500 Chevys,
Instead of the.
4-wheel drive.
Colorados.
Just in case we need help on the beach cans, we need a 4-wheel drive. I mean,
Gotcha.
if I'm gonna get it with the strobe lights and everything, I'm also do the wraparound, right? Wraparound services? Is that what- Is that what it's called? You get everything included in that price instead of coming here and then having to put the strobe lights on it. Have it all at one time.
Gotcha.
Have it delivered,
Gotcha.
wraparound services.
All right, you're on Public Works, Park.
Parks and Recs upgrades.
I don't have a
I
problem
think
with
that's
the
been
yearly at all.
spoke about
We
earlier.
did that earlier.
The only question was, and I think Mr. Cox brought it up, was if the funding needs to be increased versus remaining the same.
Well, because, you know, my number one is, let's finish Parker Park, but our other parks need attention as well.
Yes.
So,
I mean, but you brought up that 175, and I wanted to, that's extrapolated throughout 5 years.
5 years,
So that's like the
35,000.
grand total of what
yeah,
they're.
I think we.
I mean, does it need to be increased from 175 over 5 years to 300,000 over 5? I don't know. I don't know what
I've got my.
Or do you need to bring the 175 into the first 2 years or 3 years?
Right.
your,
I'd
Well,
say,
Well, do we have a definite line item checklist of things that the $175,000 covers?
not yet.
Not yet, but I know we need water over there. We need, you know, a little infrastructure going on over there.
Can-
Parker Park.
Can we get a rough order of magnitude list of projects that you want us to fund with 175 by the next meeting? So that we go in with our eyes wide open, okay, if we do 35 this year, we're gonna get this. If we do 35 next year, we're gonna get that. Or do we need 50 this year, 50 next year? That's what I'm asking.
That's what you're
We
asking.
might want to shorten up that 5 years.
Yeah.
Bring it into.
And bring it in,
bring
and bring it in and get a little bit more.
Based on what we want.
and is
Money this year.
175 a good number or not? So that's what we.
Yeah.
We would
And-
be happy to bring you a list to the next meeting of what our ideas
I
are
mean-
for parks.
Well, that,
There you
that,
go.
so
We'd
that,
be
that would
happy
be, maybe the goal may be, I think, the appetite at the council is to beautify the city, and bring some of that up to
Up to
par.
par.
I'm not sure we wanna wait 5 years.
No.
No,
Right.
no.
So let's take that 175 as a number and pull it in either to 2 or 3 or something.
Right. But I also don't wanna just say, here's a bucket of money, go spend it. I wanna say,
No.
you come back to us and say, I
Here's what we're
need
gonna
these
say.
5
This is what
items.
it's for.
These 5 items, or
Right.
these 6, or these
Right.
whatever.
I guess where and just because I've got a little bit of knowledge about what landscaping costs, we can get, if I use $1,000 per tree as the cost of a tree, you can get some really large trees for $1,000 each. And when I say large, I'm talking bigger than 12 to 14 feet. I'm talking good-sized trees. And the rule in landscaping is, and I'm talking about for a professional installer, they typically will charge you 2.5 times the cost of the plant. So if we're looking at $1,000 trees, you're talking about $2,500 a tree installed. So for $25,000, we add 10 big trees to Parker Park. This is where my mind went with Parker Park. And let's just say, because I know what irrigation costs, a $10,000 irrigation system is a pretty significant irrigation system. So we're at $35,000. And then let's say we put some real turf in instead of bahia grass and weeds. And we spend another for $100,000, and I'm adding a whole bunch of labor in here. You make Parker Park a show place. I mean, a show place. And then, you know, Mayor, I'm an advocate of, we may need to add a little money to this, and let's do all park upgrades in 2 years. Beautification in 2 years. You know, Parker Park and some smaller upgrades in year 1 and the rest of them in year 2. But it's not like, it should break the bank, and we shouldn't have to engineer it. We shouldn't have to pay $40,000 for a landscape designer to draw us up a plan. It's real simple. You can go out there with some marking paint and decide where you're gonna plant stuff.
Why don't we pull it into 2 years? I agree with Eric about, let's look at what that is, what does that $100,000 buy? So if we pull it into 2 years, we put 100 and 100, but we have a list of what it's gonna do.
And then make a list of how much it's gonna cost, and you put that in there.
We can look at that in a few weeks, or a couple days.
We'll bring it to you.
You
next
got it,
week.
right?
Yeah,
You got it?
We got it.
You got it?
Yes.
All
And I
right.
know the
You got it.
memorial policy that you guys are gonna talk about on Tuesday is really encouraging people to do memorial trees, and that was one of the places that we thought
Buy
we would
trees for.
focus on is memorial trees in Parker Park as well, so.
All right, so we're gonna take the 175, make it 200, we're gonna make it over 2 years, 100 and 100.
100 and 100.
Got it. And I'll update this, because I'm making notes
Nice.
as well, and I'll update this. and send it.
Okay, doing walkovers, 1 and 2.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I have PTSD on the cost of each of these dune walkers. So we're.
Well, the dune walkover is a carryover, dune phase 1. Phase 2, it looks like, after talking with January, they're saying that it's gonna be at least a fiscal year 27-28 project.
Yes.
And we're in agreement they cost $120,000 for each one.
No, that's phase 1. It's
No.
both of them.
Well,
That's
phase 1 is the planning, and then the 120 is for phase 2. And
But that's for one.
that's just for one.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
These
Just
are for the
one.
ADA.
The grant one.
Yes.
So since we're talking about walkovers, I don't think this council, or we haven't decided that long term, we're gonna put full-blown walkovers at every single beach access point. Have we decided that? At 100
I don't
plus?
think so. So
No, these are ADA, I mean.
the way I remember this conversation last time we had it was, we knew ADA couldn't go at every single one. We also sort of punted the decision until maybe right now, because we didn't know the costs until we started building 3. We don't have 3. We have 1 starting, but we have 2 more planned, 1 of them's even funded. But what I would like to see is at least, maybe not today, but by the end of this budget season, us come up with a number of the number of walkovers, whether they're ADA or they're not ADA, and there'll be a cost difference. But how many do we want to add per year? Because we do owe it to the residents to have a long-term vision. We've only got 3 funded, 0 built as of today.
But we're talking about, those will not be as expensive as an ADA because they're only gonna go to the top of the dune.
Understood. But again, we want a roadmap for the residents so they know, okay, how long do I have to wait for my walkover at 5th Street or 7th Street or where?
Right. Exactly, okay.
Okay, any other questions on the walkovers? We're okay with those numbers? Should say they're palatable.
You know, the 120 is just a guesstimate at this point, because that's what the grant will allow.
Right.
In other words, it's 60,000 from us, 60,000 from them for the 120. If it's more than that, it's all on our dime.
Pole barn?
Pole barn, that's the one that we're supposed to keep in that Parker Park.
No.
No? Where's that one at? The one, it's one back here?
For Outback.
This is the one that blew down, right?
Yes, sir.
No.
No.
No,
That's the next one.
The addition.
the addition for the one back here.
Okay.
So that we can get equipment out of the sun, right?
Is that still needed or is it
Yes.
carryover?
Yes, it's here.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually under construction, right? Or,
Come on.
That one's
The
finished.
original.
That's the original one. That
This
one,
was for,
for the L,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
Yeah,
they had one out there
It's
before the
supposed to be
tornado,
for an
they
L.
built an L and enclosed.
Jerry, jump right up
come
next.
on, come on up here. You're all dressed up for it. Come
So
on.
the tornado is the one that we're just building. That's from the tornado and insurance and all that. We've been talking for 2 years about putting, at first it was gonna be another aluminum building like this. Then we put it down to just having an L-shaped pole barn. Well, because of where water lines are, we're not really able to put it over here. So really, this is depending on if we purchase the Foley
Foley
property.
property.
Because if we're not gonna purchase that, then we may need to discuss other options for the pole barn. That's why we're pushing it to the next year, because certain things are depending on what's gonna happen.
And there's not a whole lot of room in the back here to put it.
No.
No, and we would also need electricity for 2 of the the sheds.
We gotta pull it
If
from
we
over
moved
there.
them, it was a whole debacle, but
Yeah.
that's why we're hoping for the Foley property also, because then we could put the pole barn out there. That's where all the equipment can go. Gives us a little more room here. That's what it really depends on. That pole barn is depending on that. Where we put it, we'll go from there.
Okay. If we don't get it, if we don't get the Foley property, where do we put it?
There's really nowhere to
So
put
it
it.
goes away.
Yeah,
Goes away.
basically, I guess,
It goes
because
away.
there really is not enough room back here, especially with trucks coming in and
No.
out. With, if we got the Foley property, we could do an entrance on one side, exit on the other, or however they decide to do it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
So you hold it on there, Mike?
Yeah, since it's a
Thank you,
carryover, I just
January.
push it
Yeah.
1 year in advance and
Okay. Vehicle replacement, public works, parks and recs.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on anybody?
no.
Christmas tree, decorations?
Yes.
Is that the annual number we just keep doing?
No, we need a new Christmas tree this year.
So we need, okay, so this is new
And
equipment.
this is for new equipment. This is for a brand new tree to put at Parker Park. Makes a brand new amphitheater.
More than a tree out.
Yes. Yeah.
They are very expensive.
And also for land decorations too. I want to upgrade those a little bit too.
Land decorations near the tree.
Near the tree, absolutely.
How about the poles?
Yeah, how are the pole decorations going?
I mean, those decorations will last another, I mean, hopefully another budget season, but, I mean, those are okay.
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 Those are okay.
Canal, Jetty, obviously is no brainer. It's just kind of informing us, right?
Mhm.
Peer informing us. Boat ramp repairs. And boat ramp extension. Any questions on any of those? Anybody? That's something we're all up to speed on.
Mhm.
Public Works sanitation truck.
That's just because we leased it,
Yeah.
so
We
I
leased
put
it.
the cost in.
We're just showing the cost of
This,
it.
Yes.
this is a done deal last year, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Okay.
just put the lease payment in there.
All right. Senior fire.
Good job, Sam.
Thank you, thank you.
His first budget.
No, he ain't come to the front
Hey, you
part.
didn't pick on me too much. You tried though.
Oh, do you want to?
It's only just begun.
Oh, I know.
Believe me.
I So basically, radios. We talked about them last year. We put them off till the following year. We have handhelds like this one here. Believe it or not, this little green box on my hip costs $7.5 grand.
Are you talking about the HH radio, the
Yeah.
45,000? Okay.
Yeah. So I want to do
Do you not want to talk about the bunker gear?
well. Bunker gear and stuff is not till
Next
years out.
budget
So
year.
Okay.
and I'm hoping most of that's going to be done through grants. But
So
we're back into the ones that we want to do.
Right
which
down
are
the radios.
All right.
basically the radio
This year.
this year, right? And then the real big item, right? The only thing that I will probably not sit down unless I get it. We have put off for 3 years at least, putting money in our back pocket for a new fire truck. I had a meeting only 2 days ago with a vendor, he just called up. He arrived on the door. He was, you know, I didn't ask him to come or whatever, but we talked fire trucks. Because that's basically what they do. And an off the peg, no bells and whistles fire truck is $550,000. Had we started this 3 years ago, we'd already have $300,000 in our back pocket. But as we stand right now, we have a big fat zero. We need to start saving some money. Because unfortunately, yes, there are grants out there, but when they start doing grants for big ticket items like fire trucks, they look at population and so on and so forth. And our population being as small as it is, makes it a lot more difficult for us to actually get big ticket items like a fire truck. So we need to be able to turn around and say we have 50%, 75% of the money, then we've got a better chance of getting the rest of the money by grant. But we're never going to get it all. And Engine 43 that sits out here is a 2005 Kenworth. Right? It's been obviously well maintained and taken care of, but eventually, you know, rubbers perish, pipes start to burst, and so on and so forth, and you're throwing more good money after bad. So we need to start saving money. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, we're doing ourselves a disservice.
What's your reasonable estimate as to how much longer that truck can be maintained in safe working order?
I would hope at least for the next 3 years.
So and is that $1.5 million reasonably
Where
accurate?
are we? $1.5 million.
That's what was in your total projected.
Well, in the total, that's what was there.
Is that one that should not be there?
You only have.
Oh, so I see what you, so, no, okay, so if we were, and when we talked, we had worst case scenario. Like if we went for a cab over, all bells whistling and banging, you could.
Sandy, you're not gonna get it.
No, so obviously he misunderstood me, right? I said it could cost up to $1.5 million. The long and the short is probably gonna end up costing us in 3 years' time, probably $650,000
Or so.
or $7. I mean, they used to be able to buy them for $250,000 when I first started 10 years ago. They're now already twice that. So whether it could be in 3 years' time, only heaven knows.
Well, with that said, is it worth us doing 100, and then at the last year, maybe putting in 500?
Well, I would hope that we will be able to get an amount of grant funding towards it. So if we do 100, 100, and 100 in 3 years' time, we'll have 300 to do the grant funding, we'll have the money to get the truck.
Okay.
That's my thought process.
As public safety, I think we have to budget for.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to find a way to yes, but the 1.5 million through.
No, we're not.
Okay.
Put that out of your head. Think more think more serious. Now, there is another, but we haven't, it's not on here because we're not thinking about it just yet, right? But the ladder truck that's out there, right? Again, that, if you wanted to go buy a new ladder truck, you're talking 1.7 million bucks. We're not doing that, right? What you can do with those trucks is you can have them reconned, right? So you take them away, they pull all the hoses and engines and pumps, rebuild the whole lot, put it all back together again, and send you a new, a completely reconditioned truck, right? And that is something that we would think about doing maybe 5 to 6 years down the road.
If we would take,
But right now, I just want to get off the table with the fire truck, with the engine first.
if we would take that 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, all the way to 31, if we take it at 100 and 100 and 100, and then in the latter 2 years go 200 and 200, we'd have $700,000 to purchase. Can we wait that long? Is that the way to approach it?
If we can't get grant funds, yeah, that would work, but I would hope we will get some grant funds to help us buy.
Let's say we're
purchase.
not getting, let's say we're not getting any grant funds, what do we have to pay for it?
Then I'd fire our grant writers.
Gotcha, but if we have to buy this outright, what does it cost us?
To buy an engine outright, at the moment, it will cost you $550, but then it's probably gonna cost you $650.
100, 200 the latter years, we buy it in the latter year, we could even buy it in the fourth year.
Yeah.
If it's as low as you say.
Don't forget, there is also the possibility, I know we don't use the L word here too often, but they are leasable as well.
Right?
Well,
Which would mean you could buy it earlier, because you'd only be putting in the lease funds every year going forward from there. I know, I'm just saying, if the work, let's just say we drove down the road tomorrow and it suddenly decided that the engine was gonna explode for whatever reason, right? There's always, but if we start putting that money there, we've got the money for it.
I'm with Mr. Cox, I believe that this is a safety, item. It's something that has to change over. We have a 2005 in our hand that's in good condition, but let's not risk it, let's buy it.
And I heard 3 years, not 5. So I'm wondering if the 100 needs to be 150.
That's kind of my thought. And to your point, Sandy, and Mayor and Council, the fact that it is a safety issue, machines break, and older machines typically break more frequently than newer machines. And let's budget for it, and if in year 2, we've got 300,000 set back, and we get the grant, maybe we get a grant that's a little larger, you know, I mean, who knows?
And then in year 3, we pay nothing, because we will have saved up for the first 2 years, get a grant, boom.
We're done.
Yeah. We can put 250 in the 3 years, that gives us $700,000.
Even, and then we're covered if we don't have a grant.
Right.
I like that, Mayor.
So what are you adjusting it to?
3 years, 250 a year.
250 a year?
In the third year, we purchase.
Yeah.
Or then we go
back to
150,
grant.
150, 250. That
And
gives us-
well, he was saying maybe 700, right?
I mean, at the moment, it's 550. Depending on, look, how long is a piece of string, it depends on what we put into the truck. Basic price is in and around $550,000.
So let's assume we get some grant money. Make it, instead of 100 a year for the next 3 years, let's make it 200 a year. Because then in 3 years, we've got 600.
600, you buy it.
I like that.
And not only that, but with great respect, that means we've basically caught up on where we would have been had we started just 3 years ago.
Fair enough.
All right, so that's good. So
Yeah, no, I-
I think that's a council good with that.
200,
Yes.
perfect. No, I appreciate the time you've taken to discuss that and come up with a good compromise. Thank
Well,
you.
and I know the future councils are gonna have these conversations every year, but it's just like budgeting money for paving. The fire department, we've committed to support the fire department. We've committed to keeping a city-operated fire department. We need to respect when the chief says that we really need to put X in the budget for whatever and start doing that. You know, if you put that off 3 to 5 years and all of a sudden you're 700,000 behind what you should have been budgeting, now you're just playing catch up. And public safety is not something I want us to play catch up with.
No, the sad thing about it is it just costs a huge amount of money. And people will turn and say, when was your last fire? I hear it all the time. We had a 30-acre brush fire this week. You remember the HGW house or the HGTV house? Does anybody remember that?
Yeah, over on
Yeah.
386.
No,
Yeah.
back up here on East Bay. We were over there on Tuesday for a 30-acre brush fire. Now it didn't get caught up, but it was completely surrounded by fire at one point. So you know, there are dangers out there. We do go to them. Thankfully, because a lot of what's in the city is new build, you have a lot less structure fires due to old age and so on and so forth buildings, but you know, eventually that's going to catch up with us too.
Well, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but like when you all get a call, y'all take that truck to a lot of calls.
Yes.
Well, the engine goes basically to everything because it has to in case there, you know, if you go to a med call for, you know, a fall, you've got to have your call should you have a fire call to go to straight away, whatever. You
Or
can't
if
just leave it.
a vehicle accident, you never know when it could turn into a fire. So.
No, I mean, And then every single alarm call, we take the ladder truck too, so if we, doesn't matter what we're going to on an alarm call, but, fire alarm call, the ladder truck goes as well. So,
Sandy, didn't you get like 500,000 in a grant money?
for the ladder truck, the ladder
What
truck,
we have now.
yeah, the ladder truck was
Okay.
basic grant appropriation,
Yeah.
so it was $500,000 to get
And
the
that
ladder
was-
truck and to equip it. So
How
we
long
spent
ago was
400,000 on the ladder,
Year
that
ago?
was like 2 years ago, don't forget, that's a 2009 truck.
But
That's not a new truck.
It was refurbished.
No, it was, how would you put it? It went through a used fire truck service, shall we say. So they replaced the necessary stuff on it, but they didn't do a complete rebuild on it by any manner. I mean, it's still the same engine, same pump, same ladder, same chassis.
All right, thank you, Sam.
Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate the time spent on it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sewer.
He's the one that made out last year.
Yeah, don't forget that.
Well, first line out the DAC control. I want to say once again thank you for letting us purchase that. It's been a great help to the utility department with the water and sewer side of it. Everything you pretty much see here before you will pretty much stay the same. I will be adding, according to, of course, everyone's seen it, the Florida Rural Water Report. I will be adding another line item here. Yeah, a few line items. The only thing that I see on here that will need to be changed, we spoke with January got up here and talked about the pole barn. We have 25,000 coming out of the water department and then 25,000 coming out of the sewer.
75.
75,000. I don't know what we can maybe move that over, or once we decide what we're going to do with the purchase of the other property, figure out what we're going to do with it.
Where's this 14-inch main at?
The 100,000 each year.
Where is it at? You're just saying the whole thing, replacing as you go, or?
Well, yes, sir, replacing as we go, but you know, we did decide that we're going to look for a grant to try to replace that whole thing, and you know, we had a meeting with Tindall yesterday, so we have a lot more. That 100,000 pretty much just you know, it's not going to do much. So, yes, sir, exactly.
We don't need a full debrief of what the Tyndall meeting yesterday, but in general, what did they say about their ability to assist us with?
We're gonna do the council, at the council meeting, we're gonna update you.
So can,
Yes,
because there again, I believe we're prepared for a rainy day. And we're praying that we get some sort of assistance to cover that 14-inch line.
Yes, sir.
Because we'll never, as a city, be able to pay for it on our own. Having said that, should we change that line item, the verbiage, to simply say maintenance and upgrades? Because I don't want to downplay $100,000 a year, but we do have aging infrastructure.
Yes, sir.
And $100,000 does not go far to do.
yeah, I see it as maintaining,
Maintain, yes, sir.
yeah, not replacement. That's
No.
what I was asking that question.
It-
Where
to-
is it
to
gonna be
me,
replaced?
to me, it's a, he needs a maintenance budget, and to me, that $100,000 is just kind of, there again, given the condition, the age of what's underground here,
Mhm.
and with other unknowns that are gonna break,
Right.
maintenance, I think he needs a line item in a capital improvement plan just to cover that.
Right.
Because you can't budget for that just in what we call normal operating revenue, I don't think.
And I think the reason for the specific of the 14-inch force main or recoat alignment during budget last year is when that incident happened over there.
Right.
And that's why we added it on here, and it's just that line.
But to Steve's point, I mean, he's gonna need money every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more in the line, it's not, doesn't really fit in the capital category as much as it fits in,
Operations.
yeah, what he has to do every year, his group has to do every year.
Yes, sir, and thank God.
That's
we
why I was
have-
asking where are you replacing that, because if it's capital item, you're saying, okay, we have to replace it from Fourth Street to Seventh Street.
Oh, no, okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we just need to move this line item to the next page or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, cause thank God we haven't had anything major, you know, any repairs we did have on the 14 and 14, maybe we were able to do in-house, but if we had to hire a contractor in to do something we couldn't, you can burn that 100,000 up with the contract at least.
All right, so does that make sense, city administrator, to take that out of the seats?
Take it
So,
over to
so
CIP.
we're basically
Yeah.
just adding, it's just gonna go on his expense side, whatever money's
Correct.
100,000 to add to his expense account.
I mean,
And I would like to have a good idea of if that $100,000 is reasonably accurate based on prior year spending on maintenance. Is there a way, I mean, that's gotta be a line item in your operating.
Well,
budget.
I'm gonna say this, you really can't, because we haven't had any issues like this year with the force main. So this is like an unexpected, if something just unexpected happens, we have that money to help with it. But as far as it costing 100,000 each year,
But what drives that, I think what Eric's asking is what drives that? How did you come up with that number? Did you
Well,
have
that
a
was-
history of that number, or?
no, sir. Well, that was going towards replacing, like you said earlier, pieces at a time, sections at a time.
Right.
That's what his whole,
So, yeah,
whole figure comes
so
from.
that's why
He does have a repair and maintenance expense item in his budget.
all right.
so,
This was just, we had that main break, it was discovered that that pipe all along was
bad.
fragile.
Right.
And so we knew that we had to do something in advance, prepare to repair it, so that's why it was listed just as the 14-foot or 14-inch force main.
Correct.
And we had options of either replacing or coating the inside, and that's where that $500,000 number came from.
I think though, what we're doing here is we're trying to give a learning experience as far as how we want to look at things in the future.
Mhm.
It's fair to say that historically, last year you spent $100,000 on these repairs. That's what you're telling me.
Yes, sir.
So you're budgeting again another 100,000
100,000.
and maybe a little bit of increase because of cost or
Cost,
something
yes,
like
sir.
that.
Mhm.
And I think that's what the council is looking for. They're looking for you to, on a capital item, that's a lot simpler. On a maintenance item, it's way different.
Right, yes, sir.
So we're looking for you to say, how much does it cost for me to replace 1 foot of 14-inch line? It costs $10. I'm gonna do 100, so it's gonna cost me $100.
that's right.
Some history, you gotta start getting some history of what it really costs, so that you put in your maintenance.
So, I mean, I'm fine with leaving a capital expenditure item like you've got
Mhm.
for a rainy day need to repair or replace a big break that may happen in the next year. But, so, like the mayor just said, what is that? Is it $10? Is it $1,000 a foot? Whatever it is, let us know so that we can keep a capital line item for you. It may not be 100,000.
Yes, sir.
It may be more. It may be less.
So let me ask you this, so when the grant portion of replacing that 14-inch force main came up, that put a halt on everything. So let me ask the council, would y'all prefer me to go ahead and start replacing this pipe with this $100,000?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm just asking.
No,
So,
go ahead.
The city administrator said.
I'm just asking.
I was gonna ask Mike the question, because there again, much like fire trucks, pipes wear out, right? And now we're at a point where this is way beyond the scope of something we can put on a capital improvement plan. But my idea was, if we roll this line, this annual amount into his maintenance budget, and it's not spent specifically for maintenance money, what liberties do we have with any carryover monies that were designated in that?
Well, in our budget purpose, and the reason why we line item everything, and I'll just do something easy. say we have a uniform account and we have $1,000 in it, but we hired 2 new people, so we actually spent $1,500. But my whole budget is $100,000, and so I could theoretically take that extra $250 from office supplies, and it'll still fit, and legally our balance, it doesn't affect our budget anyway. It might affect that line item when we look next year, go, oh, well, you spent $1,200 in uniforms, so let's put it $1,200 budget. So for his 100,000, to answer your question, if we take this $100,000 and actually put it in his expense, and he only spends 60,000, well, then that's the decision the council's gonna have to make next year. It's like, well, you only spent $60,000 of this 100 that we gave you. Do you still wanna give him 100,000 next year for maintenance expenses, or do you wanna taper it down to what he actually spent at $60,000?
I keep going back to the idea that he can't accurately predict when a catastrophic maintenance thing happens. It's gonna cost $100,000 or $50,000. It's gonna more or less wipe out his maintenance budget. Any more than we can financially afford. I mean, us throwing $100,000 a year into a line item that says replace that line all the way to Tyndall is more or less like me throwing salt out there into the ocean. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
Agreed.
So I would rather see this money protect us on the maintenance side and budget for things, because things are gonna break. I didn't read that complete report, but when I skimmed through it, I was like, oh my, we have big problems. Big problems. And just because they hadn't blown up in our face yet, yeah. And all those items kind of fall, a lot of them fall under maintenance, right?
If I could kind of help this discussion along a little bit. Last year, we determined that the state of MX1 and the state of the 14-inch main line was deficient. And we have to do something to plan for replacement, refurbishment, whatever it takes. Well, we recall we put in appropriation requests for $1 million that was denied. And that $1 million was simply engineering and design. We didn't have $1 million, and we don't have $1 million to do that. So that's why the appropriation came in. So with the $100,000 that's in this budget now, I've talked to Anchor Engineering that, you know, this is to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish, $100,000 isn't gonna come near what is needed. But, you know, can you at least, for that money, come up with some preliminary estimates on the engineering side that will kind of help us when we do request additional grant funds, give us a better idea of what that's gonna cost for at least the design and the engineering.
So for reasons like that, I want to keep this line item in the capital budget, because
If it's viewed as engineering.
if it's engineering, design, and study, that's going to get us to a place at some point in the future where we have an accurate cost estimate and plan to give to somebody and say, we need $1 million, and we need $1 million for this, and we produce a report that it costs us $100,000 to make this year.
Yes, just, yeah, maybe retitle that line.
Yeah, so it's not replacement, it's gonna be retitled to engineering, planning,
Design and engineering.
design and engineering.
And are we still earmarking it for MX1 and the 14-inch force main? Or would it be-
Absolutely. I mean, when we, God, we don't want to ever get to the point where we can't pump wastewater.
Right. No, so my only reason for asking that is we just got a report that spells out a bunch of other stuff we got to fix around town. So it sounds like that's going to be a separate line item than this one. We want to keep this line item in the capital budget at $100,000 for this year to do design and engineering studies with someone that will help us plan and get more data and specifics for what needs to happen for MX1 and the 14-inch force main only. not the rest of the city, the rest of the city that came out of this report. That'll be a separate one.
Right.
That's a great point, because Ron, when he met with our staff last week, or week before,
Week before, yes, sir.
he made it clear that they didn't study that 14-inch main or MX1. That was beyond their scope. So having this separate is an awesome idea.
Okay. You have 500,000 in there, it's 100 a year. Is that too long? Should be a shorter window to get the information?
Yes, yes.
I would, the quicker the better, I'm gonna say that, because, I mean, we all know the integrity of that pipe, like, we all know that it is going out. So I'm gonna say the quicker the better, so we can go ahead and get the study done, and once we do find the grant, I guess that portion of it will be done, and this process will move along a lot quicker than.
250 over 2?
Or 150 over 3, yeah, something.
I would say 250 over 2.
250.
We pushed our luck
Okay.
way past
Yeah,
the
it's-
average.
Right.
All right, 250 over 2 is what everybody's saying.
Right. Because
And changing the title of it.
we obviously know that the engineering side of it is gonna take a little bit of time. But it kind of needs to move to the front of the list, because we've got to start pursuing funding in numerous areas to get this done, because the whole construction of being moved, number one, moving MX1 and then putting in a new line, that's gonna take some time.
This has got to be, that project has got to be basically the #1 priority, because
For our grant writers, for
for
our
the grant writers
lobbyists.
and the lobbyists, because we are way past the law of averages on that thing breaking down.
And it broke just a few months ago.
Yes.
We had multiple breaks.
Over by the Civil Engineer Center turnout.
Mm-hmm.
City was out there repairing.
Yeah, so, this is one of the cans that has been kicked down the road for 25 years. And we're now paying the price for it. We can't wait any longer.
250 over 2.
Yeah.
Council decision. Okay?
Just out of interest, it's 72,000 feet from Mexico Beach to the front gate of Tyndall Air Force Base.
To the front gate,
72,000 feet.
72,000 feet. And I just did a quick, ask the question of those people in the, 225 feet to 450, sorry, $225 to $450 per linear foot. So somewhere between 16 and $32 million.
You're talking complete replacement.
Yeah, right. Well, just to give you an idea of where you're at in the complete replacement. If you were
Yeah,
starting from
that's-
scratch,
that's-
16 and 32 million.
And I call that Air Force money.
Well, that's, so 100,000, as you say, is mixture total,
Yeah.
use it salt into the ocean.
Good. Pumps for lift stations?
Keep that the same. I got 6 pumps I have to purchase, so we can keep that the same, because the pumps are going out. They're getting old. A lot of
Pretty
them.
much a yearly thing? I
Yes,
think.
sir. Yes, sir. Yearly thing.
How many did we, by the end of this fiscal year, how many lift station bypass pumps will we have completed?
Bypass pumps.
Yeah.
Now the bypass pump, we have 3 that we just installed at 7th Street, 14th Street, and 6th in Florida. We have 2 in the yard. Well, not actually 2 in the yard. We have 1 on South 36th Street, and we have 1 on North 30th Street. So that's a total of 5 pumps that the city owns. Only 2 can be moved around the city. So, I'm sorry, 3. We got another one back there, so that's 6. But only 3 of those can be moved around the city to, different stations if they go down.
So the reason I'm asking is this line item is gonna cover how many pumps for next year?
Oh, that's the pumps inside the station, like inside the wet well,
Yeah.
not the bypass pumps. Yes, sir.
So,
So that pump.
how many, Gary, I think what Eric's trying to get to is, A, how many wet well pumps have been replaced,
Mhm.
and B, how many need to be replaced?
We got 6 right now that need to be replaced. So
And-
two in South 36, 1 in North 30, 2 in South 36th Street, 2 in North 36th Street and 2 in North 30th Street.
That are basically, that's when we've got bypass pumps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We actually have one in.
So that's not, there again, I'm trying to ask a proactive question. If we're budgeting to replace pumps, how many in the city need to be replaced either, I'm serious,
How many as of right now?
as of right now, that are still running but not?
Oh, every week. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Lisa. But just to give you, I mean, what Ms. Lisa said is correct. But just to give you the rundown, the pumps are working, but you still have pumps that are in the wet well running that were placed in there 20 years ago, but they're still operational. So it's going to be a.
Well,
So last year you replaced some that were still working.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that's the question the council is asking is, how many are you replacing a year? Is it a maintenance thing?
Yes, sir. It's a constant issue. I mean, you can have one go out, then you have to replace it. So once again, I can't give you like when they go out.
I'm trying to let the council know that this is a maintenance thing.
Oh, yes,
You're
sir.
buying them to put them on the shelf
Mhm.
so that you can continue to maintain them.
No, we're not putting anything on the shelf. We're buying them and
And
putting
then
them
you're
away.
Okay.
I wish we had it like that.
The point I was trying to get to was, we've got a bunch of 20-year-old pumps and wet wells.
Yes, sir.
To your point, Lisa, that need to be replaced.
Mhm.
Do we wait for a sewage pump to quit pumping, or do we proactively replace it when it's near the end of its duty life? Personally, I don't like for the brown water to stop flowing.
right. Well, and so where I'm going with the period is, you've got $70,000 pumps for lift stations, with 30,000 of that coming in this fiscal year. That's what you're asking. How many pumps will that replace?
Well, the quotes that I got, the pumps, you might as well say they're at least $7,000 to $8,000 a piece.
Okay.
So the pump, they're
20 something need replaced?
27 over how? So
27 citywide.
27 over 3 years.
What would it cost to do that?
So let me give you this number here. So one of the quotes that I got to replace the 6 pumps came up to $42,000, between $42,000 and $52,000. I can't.
So $7,000 a piece.
Yes, sir.
So like Steve, I only glanced at the water report. I haven't gone through it in detail, but I saw the executive summary up front said, "Do this now."
Mhm.
Yes.
So $200,000 will replace all the pumps. That's 7,000.
Well, no, because you have different sizes in the lift station. So all those pumps, those are 6.7 horsepower pumps. So depending on which station you go to, the size of the pumps vary, and the size of the pumps, that's how you predict how much the pumps are.
Okay, so the ones you had quoted, here's where I'm trying to get to.
Mhm.
The whole purpose, Mayor, I think we all agree, of a capital improvement plan is to plan to spend capital to do big things, right? So if you just said, the quote you had at $7,000 a pump for 40-something thousand, give me a number that we can use, and I'm not gonna hold you to it, but a ballpark, the big pump to the small pump, what's the delta in the price?
Mhm.
And then we can figure it out. It's simple math. It's 27 times that number for a number we can budget for.
Yeah.
And
Get
get
28 of them, that's $200,000.
Yeah, so if instead of 200,000, if the number's 300,000, instead of putting 30,000 in and then 10,000, let's go ahead and budget over 3 years to put all new pumps in.
Sounds good to me.
So here's what I'd like to see. So that $70,000 over, what is it, 5 years? That doesn't sound good enough. I would like to see a plan to replace 27 pumps. Granted, they're not all the same price.
Mhm.
27 pumps over 3 years.
Right.
And we split it down the middle. You get 1/3 this year, 1/3 next year, 1/3 the year after that.
And then, if you want to budget a little bit of money every year for a pump failure,
Yes, sir.
you can, to the mayor's point, you can keep one of each size on the shelf for an emergency.
Right.
That's kind of the way my brain works. I mean,
Mhm.
Can you have a list of 27 replacements over 3 years by Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
It's just a rough order of magnitude.
You have to go through and get up, but yes, sir, I can have that done. See, with this here, it was I did this as an as needed, so when the pumps went out, I replaced them, trying to be conservative, but being that y'all say I can go ahead and get all of them, let's do it.
Well, I think, another way of saying what I just asked for you is, I think they're all as needed over the next 3 years.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
Mhm.
There's a big difference between a pump going out
Yes, sir.
and the life of the pump.
Right.
What is the life of the pump?
Well, you had some in there for 20 years, so they give you the.
So we can-
Okay, do you have some of them that have been replaced this year?
Oh, yes, sir, uh-huh.
So it's not gonna be
So
27.
maybe it's not 27.
Yeah, no, So, I mean, the lifespan of the pumps vary. You can put a new pump in there today, and thank God you have a warranty with it, but you can put a new pump in there today, and it can burn up tomorrow.
All right, let me get right. That makes sense. I mean, something can happen.
Yes, sir, right, mhm.
Yeah. Let me ask this.
Mhm.
Do we have records of when we replaced these pumps?
We lost a lot of our records in Hurricane Michael.
Okay, that's good enough answer. That's good enough. Number one, you ought to start with having a record of the
Mhm.
pumps. Okay, if there's 27 pumps, we should know when they were put in,
Mhm.
what date, and then we can go with life expectancy
Right.
of that pump. We can go off of that. If you say it's 20 years, man, we can do some great planning in the future.
Mhm.
If we know we've got 20 years and we have to do this every year, we have to do so many. So that's a good planning thing that you need to start with.
Yeah, and.
I don't know what to tell you to replace 28 or give you a budget for
Well,
10.
it's not gonna be 28 because we've done like Nanook, that's got a brand new.
Yeah, those have 2 pumps in them. Second floor has 8 pumps in them. I mean, it's certain stations that have 2 pumps.
So I guess, as we look at all the deficiencies that we have, what's the typical warranty period for a pump?
It depends on who you get from, they vary. I'm gonna say
A
maybe
year?
2 years, yes, sir. 2 to 5 years, I'm gonna say that.
Okay, so if we plan that we could potentially have to replace pumps every 5 years, I think we're never gonna get caught with our shorts.
So I have an offer here. I think your homework's done, or it's 85% done. I'm looking at the water report. I'm not looking at the big table at the end. I'm just looking at the executive summary, critical assets list. This is a list of, I don't know, 15 or 20 things that were installed in 99, and their design life is 20 or 25 years, which means they're all past. And they're all either poor or one of them has failed. My proposal is you take this list, you figure out how to replace every one of those in the next 3 years.
And the worst that could be is $200,000.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's as bad as it can be.
Mhm.
I mean, well, that's not a little bit of money, but it sure allows us to get a tracking system for the future.
Trust me, the residents on Pickett Street, 7th Street, they don't want that water backing up in their house.
Garrett, when they did the bypass pump installation,
Yes,
did they replace the pumps in the wet wells at the same time, or was that strictly bypass pumps?
So the
So
the
13
only one that got new pumps in the wet well was 14th Street.
14th,
Yeah,
okay.
14th Street and that, being that they totally redid those.
Okay, okay,
So that was the one at 6 in Florida.
didn't.
No, ma'am, it didn't.
If we push this replacement using this report
Mhm.
that shows the list of when it was installed and what shape it's in, and they're all poor or failed,
Mhm.
one failed. If we push that, which I think we have to, because again, I can't emphasize how many times this was kicked down the road and we are past our use by date.
Yes, ma'am.
And we get that done in 3 years. One of the primary things that you have worked on since you've been here, but we didn't have in the past, was a solid maintenance program. The maintenance from the time it was installed up until recently has been very poor. It's just one of those things that we didn't take care of. I want to see a good maintenance schedule that is well-funded every year so that we don't have to worry about it. That's one of your line items.
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever it takes for us to fund that line item sufficiently every year from this year forward, we need to do. And that's over and above replacing the Tyndall line and moving MX1. That's just a whole different animal. So whatever is in your projected maintenance, make sure that it is sufficient for you to do the job that is needed.
Yes, ma'am.
And we will need to fund it. We can't just keep ignoring this.
Right.
And remember that the line becomes more stressed as there is more building. So factor that in.
But I think the initial 3-year plan needs to be
That.
this list that our well-paid contractor said, you better replace these now.
Yes.
You have some data.
Yes, sir, I have some
Whether
data.
whether you know it or not, you have some data. Because you purchased pumps,
Mm-hmm.
and you sent guys out to replace them.
Yes, sir.
I think you need to look at the 27 lift stations that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Try to puzzle back some type of chart that says, I replaced these last week, I replaced these last year. And accurate information. If you don't know, don't put it down there.
Right.
But if you know it was replaced a year ago, put it replaced a year ago. Lift station number 1, 2 pumps. Lift station number 4, 3 pumps, whatever it is. Tally, start to put that together. And I think we ought to meet together on a separate meeting
Yes, sir.
and see how we get to the complete replacement, and please get to where we can look at it and say, we don't have a pump that's older than 5 years, or we don't have a pump older than 10 years,
Mhm.
whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mayor, I think that's a great idea. I mean, in my view, the easy, low-hanging fruit is, the first ones you go replace, if it's a 20-year-old pump, you don't even ask. You just put a new pump in.
Right.
I had asked Garrett at a staff meeting this past Wednesday that he needs to provide an annual report to the city council by taking the data, what y'all are just saying,
Right.
from this report and have it in a list. And each year he clicks off, okay, we did this, we did this, we didn't do this because of why. that
Right.
sort of thing. And that way you've got documentation and it helps him in his planning as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's $70,000 in there. I don't think that's the number,
I don't think that's
No,
good.
sir.
based on our plan here.
We'll find out Wednesday.
Right.
So 3 years
Mhm.
is what we want for the planning.
That or shorter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
For us to know what pump is in there and how long it's been there,
Mhm.
I think we need to know that this year.
Yeah, I think if we can know that, then we can decide. And I think 3 years is too long. I mean, let's make it 2. And if we can find the numbers to make it work, let's get our pumps in order and do it all in 1 year if we can.
Instead of ducks in a row, let's
Yeah.
have pumps in a row.
Is
I like
this,
that.
this, poor condition of our existing infrastructure that barely survived the hurricane, this smells like a grant opportunity, do we know? Like, can we add
It
it to
should
the
be.
list?
I've run across grants just in some research where they are for sewer system replacements. I may have even tagged some of them.
And I think the state is the one that gave like the $1 million to Bluntstown and the $1 million to, it's probably for this, so. But I would expect that a grant application needs to have what we're asking you for, which is the schedule and the age and the date of, at least the date of install if we still have it.
Yeah, feed that, I think we need to feed that information to the staff. They're having a meeting with that group. And when they meet with that group, I think they need to have all the list of questions of what we want to do grant-wise. And let's put it on there. Let's put a line all the way to Tyndall. Let's ask how much it's going to cost and see if we can get grants.
On Wednesday's meeting with Ron, and he did mention to us in our meeting that through Florida Rural Water, there are also grant opportunities. But he said for us to be eligible for those type of grant opportunities, we have to show some action as to getting what's in that report moving and going forward. But you guys can ask Ron Wednesday about those, or Tuesday about those funding opportunities through Florida Rural Water as well.
Yeah, I saw that he put a link in this report, like an actual link to, it said, if you want grant opportunities, go here.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like we're gonna have to look for about $200,000. So we should probably put 75 over 3 years, or 100 over 2.
100 over 2.
Okay. 100 over 2 is what we're doing. And there's a topic that's gonna come up again, and we're gonna need some more information.
Oh, yes, sir.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yes, sir.
This- with city administrative staff. Okay. Good. Pole barn, you know how these things all over the place.
Well, everybody was funding.
Everybody gets a pole barn and a car this year.
Same pole barn, just turn around.
Just put it on rollers and just.
It's the same pole barn, it's different, funded by different departments.
Right.
And we're not gonna need it if we get the property or we don't get the property.
Don't get the
We
problem.
don't have the property.
We don't. Okay, truck is carry, what we're doing from last year.
Yeah, but we got 2 trucks in here, right? A utility truck and a regular truck.
Yeah, it looks like the utility truck will be budgeted to purchase next year, and then whatever one truck is, looks like Eric spread it out through 5 years, so on the 5th year, he'll buy a truck.
So we don't
So
need
you-
So that's the, I was gonna replace the truck I'm driving now 5 years.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So-
Over the years.
Okay.
All right.
I like that kind of plan.
Yeah. Everybody else in line with that.
We're
Still up.
we're trying.
Yeah, utility truck, Chevy 2565.
Same thing, purchase.
And then carry
Well,
over.
This looks like a carryover for next year,
Yeah.
so this will be a next year replacement.
Yeah. It's a funding and purchase for 27-28.
Good old water meters.
Yes, sir. We keep that the same.
Kind of like pumps, they go out, right?
This is a replacement and new, right?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
these are the new fangled water meters that are antenna accessible, right?
Scanned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that, they will be installing the antenna on Wednesday.
So no more driving around to read meters unless you have one fail.
No, sir. Like I said, they will be installing it. They still have to receive training on how to do it in the front office. So when that's complete, then we will be able to, she'll be able to push the button and it'll be done.
So is that the next line item, the antenna and software?
Yeah. And Garrett.
It is a carryover too, right?
Correct, because it was in last year's budget. But to Garrett's credit, in replacing his water meters, he did find a less expensive way to replace those, where he's just replacing the heads and not the
yes,
whole
sir.
meter. So that's spreading it out a lot further.
Can you
as well.
buy just the meter or just the head?
Just that, yes, sir. It makes it a lot quicker.
I thought you mentioned that last year. didn't
Yes,
you?
sir.
Yeah. So that's saved him as well, where the money is actually going a lot further in replacing the water.
So this really isn't water meters, it's just a water meter head?
Head, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, the antenna and software, obviously, are with that. Any questions on that? It's a carryover.
Yeah, so that's free. Well, I mean, it was paid for last year. and-
Actually, 2 years ago. It's been a
Okay.
couple of years carryover.
Truck for water. Budgeting.
Over 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a pole barn. Another pole barn. Everybody gets a pole barn.
Is this the same pole barn?
That's the last of the pole
Last
barns.
of the pole barn, last of the pole barn.
We have to buy land just to set up these pole barns. Oh my God.
All right, next one's Mel.
Mr.
Good job.
All right. Well, I've got in here,
Oh, you think you're gonna get away with sitting there?
I got a better angle with the camera right here. Get a good front shot.
There you go.
See what they see. The admin vehicle that we have is not just an admin vehicle. January uses it a lot. They use it to get parts in Port St. Joe occasionally. So it's not just an admin vehicle. But that being said, that vehicle has got almost 60,000 miles on it. It used to be a police interceptor years ago, so it's not new.
One of those?
I'm sorry?
You've still got one of those?
Yeah. So, you know, I'm not saying we buy one this year, but I thought if we put 15,000 in the budget for the next 3 years, at the end of that third year, it's time to finally replace that thing.
Yeah, I like that one.
Update the LDC, you know, like you may have read the weekly report, we have a problem with the P&Z with warm bodies on there. We don't have a quorum for this month to look at the final version of the LDC update. That being said, that cost might get pushed to the next fiscal year. But anyway, it's not new money, it's money that has already been budgeted in previous years. We're shoving it forward if needed. Hopefully we get it done before the fiscal year starts, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Springbrook training,
I got that highlighted, so I'm gonna move it to an expense.
Gotcha.
It's just gonna be an expense.
all right. The generator, I think we pretty much already talked about.
75, right?
Yeah. The records management software. Right now, when we have a request for information, whether it's from the public or whether it's an internal staff question, we sometimes have to go back on numerous years of meetings and look at the agenda to see what was on there, to see when things were done. That is time consuming and completely a waste of our time. We have an opportunity to buy some records management software that digitizes and searchable all of our minutes, all of our documents, once they're scanned in, of course. And so that if we have a request to look for a record that Mr. Smith did from years past, we just type in Smith and it brings up every time Smith was mentioned in all those years. And so that will help us save an immense amount of time, not just for that purpose, but just for the records and management aspect of it, having all the records available online, having our records easily accessible. So we're having a demonstration on Monday, I think, and that will give us a better cost estimate. But I have had this particular software at other places that I've worked. At the time, it was around $10,000. Well, times have changed, prices are up. So we put in $15,000 at this point. We'll see if that holds water.
Is that an initial purchase not including annual maintenance fee?
There's always an annual maintenance fee involved.
So but that's.
That'd be a maintenance thing in the regular budget. Short-term rental software. We have had a couple of demonstrations at this point from a couple of different companies that would allow us to have them search for short-term rentals out there. In other words, they've got an algorithm that searches all of the available rental sites, whether it's BRB or just whatever. And they then know that people who are advertising their rental for public use. At this point, you know, we have a desire to give a second can for sanitation to short-term rentals. We're not aware of all the short-term rentals out there. There are much more than we already know. We have estimates that it could be 400 to 600 out there. But right now, we only have a couple hundred that are on the books. So, you know, for us to monitor that is, we don't have the time, we don't have the staff.
So, let me ask you, is this going to give us the access that we can't get from the property? This is the property appraiser or the property which office is it that handles the taxes, that refuses to give any information on
Well,
rentals?
that's the CDC. They've got their own list of rentals that they collect.
No, there's a Bay County, it's either the property tax office or the property appraiser's office, whichever one handles it, and they will not give out the number or anything else citing, what do you call it?
Proprietary.
Privacy issue. I've tried and tried and tried to get it, and they won't give it. And even Kimberly told me that she could not get the information because of privacy issues. So will this circumvent that?
This is a total separate process. This will be our data that we will have. And this price at $15,000 is the initial lower end of what this software would be capable of doing. At some point, we will be coming to the council after much staff research yet to be done on actually inspecting short-term rentals.
Okay, that was where I was gonna go with this.
And once we have purchased this initial thing, this just will tell us where they are, who they are, how to get a hold of them, that sort of thing. This can be added on at a future time to actually help us in the permitting process of all this.
Okay,
Like when Sandy and his crew goes out and inspects, you know, it schedules things for us, it tells us who, when the inspections are supposed to happen, and keep on top of things for
well,
us.
I'm for whatever it costs to get hold of that information because,
They're costing us money every month.
yes, they are.
And short answer, Lisa, yes, this goes around the privacy restrictions of the county government because this algorithm, as I understand it, it's a private company. They send out what are called spiders on the internet. They just go seek information. And so if you're a short-term rental owner at this time trying to hide the fact that you've got a short-term rental, but you're advertising out into the commercial
Yes.
world, you lose your privacy. These algorithms go and find
Okay.
you through the back door instead of the front door.
Okay, great, perfect,
So we
Yes.
think this is money well spent.
yes. I also know of some safety violations on at least one that is,
It's probably more like 100.
one that just cropped up very near me.
More than 1,000.
But yes, you know, lots of safety violations. So,
Right.
go for it.
All right. Next item on there is the strategic plan. You may recall that North Florida Professional Services was the winner of the RFQ that we had solicited. And we asked them to give us a detailed cost estimate. And at this point, we have not negotiated the cost. We have not negotiated the contract yet. But we had them give us what they think it's gonna cost. Well, if you want a plan done, you need to do it right, right? And so this is a process that would take a full 12 months with numerous meetings with the public and everyone. And the cost is $186,461. That's a lot of money.
That's a heck of a lot of money.
We spent 75,000 for half our city.
Yeah, I don't
Last time
think,
we did it.
look, I'll go back to the fire truck. It costs money to do things the right way, and that's not throwing money away. The city has never had a strategic plan, a long-term vision, nothing with metrics that you could measure and guidelines of you do this year, this next year. We've had a meeting here, a meeting there, ideas thrown around. Okay, maybe a plan came up 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Well, that plan is now null and void because it was pre-hurricane. We have not done a plan since the hurricane. We said we want to do it. We knew it was going to cost money. We selected them. I say we try to negotiate that number down a little bit, but it's going to take what it takes, and it's going to take time.
I think we ought to start by having them come in and tell us what does this do for us?
Yes.
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 What is $180,000
I mean,
gonna do? 5 meetings, 12 meetings, whatever it's gonna do.
And
I think
then
we need some type
at the end of that, at the end of this $186,000, if we have a plan, then let's all look in the mirror who's responsible for maintaining, moving forward on that plan? Well, I think it's not gonna be them. They create a plan that we tell them we, collectively as a community, that we want. But then I think we have to move forward with the plan.
Well, that's why I think they're gonna have to produce something in writing and also something that shows us how we get to where we planned over time.
Right.
Something that we can track.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do we want to do this? Do we want them to come in and just give us a brief? Because I think they could spend a lot of time on this, but we could have them in on the next meeting just to tell us how they come up with this number.
Yeah.
I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what are we gonna have, some detail as to what we're gonna have at the end of the 12 months. At the end of this planning and, or, you know, what are they gonna produce for us? And then, to your point, Mayor, how do we move down the road?
Right, but I think that at this point, going through the budgeting process, we have them convince us that it's the right thing to look at and move forward with.
Right.
Then, right after this budget, we have them in and give us a full outline of how this works. This is an hour, 2-hour meeting with citizens, the whole shot
Okay.
of what goes on.
That, I would, yes.
Yeah.
But I think for the expenditure of it, or planning side of it, we know how to carry over, believe me. We can carry over when we have to.
Well,
But at least we get a starting point.
yeah, if we put it in, if whatever number comes up back, and if we do decide to move forward, it, depending on the meetings and timing, it's probably gonna end up being some money in 2 budget cycles, because you're not just gonna say, here's your 100, you know, we're gonna wait and pay at the end, I would think, or pay part here, part there.
I'm looking at their proposal. Their proposed schedule is over 17 months. So we need to,
Budgeted over a two
yeah.
budget cycles.
So that means maybe the 186 we can cut in half for this year. I mean, 186 over 2.
Yeah, I still agree with you, Mayor. I think we gotta have them in at least to do a preliminary and then to do a secondary presentation in front of the whole, call it a workshop.
So,
But-
yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
I agree.
Okay, is that good, City Administrator?
Yes, not at a regular meeting, but a special.
Right. But we will have them in the next, if not this
Next couple
next.
weeks.
Yeah,
And so it's safe for me just to divide that by 2,
I think so.
going forward.
17 months is what they said, delivery.
So this year, next year.
and I think it's okay to split it if you wanted to,
Yeah.
over 2 years.
Yep.
All right.
All right, then last on our list is the Foley property, which you've already discussed. And I think there's a desire to put on the area between the 25 acres and Joe Drive as well.
Yeah, I've added, on the admin side, the city administrator search, the Nanook access, I guess is that little triangle thing, 25 acre improvements, I guess that's what Eric was talking about. And then the city entrance features. And
Well, and to be clear, the Nanook triangle, that includes Joe Drive.
Right.
Which hopefully is not a purchase, I mean, it's a gimme.
And again, this is a tool, so if throughout during the year, we don't have to sign a number to a wish that we want for the city in the future. This is good for budgeting for this year or prior years, but it's also a good tool to keep in front of us so we don't forget about it.
Right.
That, you know, there's things that we want to do in the future. So if there's more that you don't have a number for, but you've got ideas that you want to do, I mean, it's as easy as adding, and if it turned out not, then we can take it off. It's just so, but it is good to keep it in front of our eyeballs so we know what we have, what we're wanting for the future.
Eric, I'm sorry, you said the Nanook St. Joe property also include Joe Drive?
Well,
The extension of Joe Drive,
the
Oh, the
extension of Joe
extension,
Drive.
okay.
so we can access the 20,
Gotcha, okay.
Mel and I actually looked at the map and depending on where you drew the line, I'm just estimating, what do you think, Mel, 7, 8 acres of unimproved land back there?
Closer to maybe 10, but about that range.
But just to be clear, the triangle needs to include the entrance off of Joe Drive. Depending on how you look at the property map, I've got it up on my screen here, it doesn't include it, or at least the triangle isn't, but
Yeah, we'd have to go just, I guess, to the
towards
east.
Casuna a little bit.
And one more clarification, the pages that you got behind the actual spreadsheet are kind of null and void. Those were kind of like wish lists, but as we did the CIP schedule, we actually did it on the spreadsheet and we did not update the sheets behind. So those are kind of can go away.
Except for the last page, so.
Don't go down.
My lips are sealed.
Alright, that's everything on there. Anything on CPA? CIP, anything else? I think we covered quite a bit. Last one is COLA and merit pay. Who's gonna take that? The administrator?
Well, I'll start. One of the first things I did when I met with my fellow city managers around the county last month, I asked them, what they're looking at for raises in their communities. And for this coming fiscal year, the answer is what they normally do. In other words, they're not cutting back or anything because, the proposed legislation hasn't taken effect and will not for this next fiscal year. So they're estimating anywhere between, 2 and 6%, doing a cost of living, as well as a merit raise. We had a discussion Wednesday morning at our staff meeting about what's the cost of living, and we had a couple of us, do a quick search what the current inflation rates are, and we're talking anywhere between 3.7 and 4.5 estimated as of the end of the year. So if you average that out, round up the cost of living up to 4% and 2% merit raise, that would be a 6%, thing that we would consider. But of course, that's a council decision, not a staff decision.
All right, I obviously looked it up too, and I mean, same numbers, COLA somewhere between 3.6 to 4.7. Merit raises, you look at government merit raises, and there's anything from 0 to 2%. I mean, it's not a real push this year on the government side, federal. Then you look at small cities and across the U.S., and it's somewhere between 3 to 5%. So that wouldn't even include what the city administrators did on the merit side of it too. That obviously has started 3 if we would go by a city type thing. So I think it's something that that we should all discuss, give your input, and see where we land so that we could get a starting point. Totally open based after what I've looked at. I probably think that if we land somewhere on COLA at 4%, we're probably going to be real close. What we do at merit, I heard 2%. I don't know if that's a number on the merit side of that.
And Mayor, when you say merit, that doesn't mean across the board. Merit means you
I think it,
earn.
well, we've talked about this in the past, to tell you the truth, Mr. Cox, is what went on in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they used to do it based on their birthdays. I guess they'd all get, whatever their birthday was, they'd get together and they'd give an increase. And I think the increase was not, if they said, the city said it was 2.8%, everybody got 2.8%. I think we've changed that to some degree, We ask that they go by yearly, and they actually meet with these people individually. If you have a Mr. Cox, and the city says, we're gonna give 3%, I may give you 0, I may give Linda 6. You know, that's the extreme, but you had the ability to change in that as long as your aggregate at the end stopped at 3%. Is that not how I understand it?
Now we know where Mr. Cox stands.
Well, it's kind of that way. If in your example, you had 6% between the two of them, and one got 6 and one got 0, we didn't do it that way. Ours, the way we graded out this past year was you had a limit of, say it was 5%, so.
Who
that
you
was-
giving that limit to?
I think you guys
Department
set
heads?
5% last year, that's what we set.
Yeah.
So then we went through our grading process, and you could get a max of 5, or you can get a minimum of 0. So not everybody got 5 across the board, they actually got graded out, and then were assigned a
So
percentage.
you started to eat away against the
Well, that 5% included.
highest number. You could have landed at the end of the day at 4.7.
Correct.
Okay.
But it didn't take, if I got a 0, it didn't mean Eric got 10. We didn't take that number.
But we're talking exclusively merit though.
Right.
Just merit, that's right.
Correct.
So
Everybody got cost of living.
Everybody got cost
everybody
of
gets
living.
cost of living, but then merit, you can get between 0 and a number.
2.
Right. What I would see, I would say, Sam, your department has 3% merit.
You decide if they get 3 or less.
Let me know how it comes out. He may come back and say, I maxed it at 3, or he may come back and say, I reduced it by 2.5. Just based on what he did, I don't know, but I see that more of a tool for performance than I do just giving everybody 2%.
Right.
So I'm in favor of the COLA at 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then, I'm trying to remember what my company does, of course, I'm not government of company, but I mean, as far as, you know, what you looked up there about the city governments, I mean, I'd be okay with up to 3% merit.
Anybody else?
I'm good with those numbers. I mean, these guys, you know, Sam, Garrett, Mel, Mike, you're managing people, you ought to be evaluating them individually. And if they don't deserve the merit, they shouldn't get any merit. You know, that's y'all's judgment.
We're throwing 3% out there.
Yeah, but if they're doing a good job and they've met all your expectations or exceeded them, hey, give them a 3% merit.
Or the other way around, if they haven't, they get 0, it sends a message.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, that's the way it should work.
So the top amount would be 7%.
Correct.
Which is a pretty significant pay increase.
Correct.
But only for the high performers.
Right.
The low performers.
The ones that can't take instruction,
Yeah, if we as a city give everybody 7%,
No.
we shouldn't be hearing any complaints or anything else. Right? So we may be offering 7%, but there has to be some evaluation of our employees.
Well, and, I mean, I'm sure we as a city don't evaluate people on the bell curve, right? But not everybody's gonna get 7%.
no, only the people at the,
Only the top.
only
I
a
think
small
what's
percentage
guaranteed,
is full.
if that's what you're looking for, is 4.
Guaranteed 4. And then only the high performers, and I don't know, I'll make up a number. The top 25%, I don't know, they get 7.
Or the top 10.
Or the top 10. But then, you know, well, let's look at it by quartiles, right? So the top 25% will get 7. The next 25% will get 5.5 or 6. The next, and so on, so forth.
The council is trying to drive performance based on the increase.
Right.
if there's something you got to say as a head or a department head or something, you need to send the message, you need to make sure employees are informed. So it
Yeah.
doesn't become a surprise.
Right.
Everybody good with that number? 4:30. All right. How to start this? Now you want to start that?
Or do we want to take a 5-minute break, Mayor? We're going to take a bathroom.
It's been 3 hours.
We're gonna
Everybody,
take-
let's go ahead and take a quick break.
Bathroom.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I can't sit through enough.
Move first.
No, we're turning off We're turning off
They took a lot
All right, we're good and call the meeting back to order. We're here for the budget meeting, and we are on the last subject on the agenda. And we put this on there for a couple of reasons. I think we'll have Mel kind of explain what information we have, and then we can basically decide how we want to plan to discuss it, because we have to get a lot of information that involves a lot of decisions about how we move forward as a city in this area of sanitation. So with that said, no,
Thanks, Your Honor. Sanitation discussion is a gift that keeps on giving. No question, our sanitation department is one of the most admired departments of the city. They, you know, they're better than the postmen because they're out in rain, you know, dead of night, not so much, but, you know, go out in snow. We've had a couple snows, haven't we? But nonetheless, there is the desire of the council to seek out proposals for sanitation services. We did that, and we've negotiated with the winning vendor to do that. In all that doing, you know, in all the conversations, we envision that if the council decides to go with an outside contractor to take care of our sanitation services, we would keep one person in our sanitation department. Because the proposal from Waste Management is to, of course, take care of all the trash in the 96-gallon cans that we had already provided. They would take care of all the yard waste. They would take care of concierge service, backdoor service, whatever it is you want to call it, at an additional charge. But we want to maintain a level of service to the citizens so that, you know, if Waste Management gets a call from a citizen that, you know, I set my garbage out too late to get picked up, can you come back and pick it up? We know what the wrench is going to be. It's going to be absolutely not, because they're probably on the other side of town, or they're probably already out of town on the way, you know, to dump their load. But if we have one person remaining in our sanitation department, that person could take care of the beach cans that we have on the beach. They could take care of all the pavilions and those cans. They could take care of the fish cleaning station, which is a nasty job to be sure. And also to take care of these particular requests from our citizens, so that if we do get that call that for whatever reason they missed a trash day pickup, then we could send that person out to make sure that's taken care of. Also in this proposal is Waste Management doing all of the large commercial cans, or shall we say the dumpsters. And they have to do a separate, different process than what we've got. In other words, we have rear load trash trucks, and our dumpsters are set up for rear load dump trucks. Their particular trucks are the forks that will come down in front of the truck, fork underneath the dumpsters, and take it back and dump it that way. Our dumpsters cannot provide that, so they will have to get all new dumpsters for our customers as needed. If we keep that one person in our sanitation department, then if we have a special event where there is a need for dumpsters, we don't have to mess with Waste Management. We can have what few dumpsters we have remaining to be taken out to those special events for trash services, and provide that service, you know, to the public and our citizens. That all being said, we have been provided with a number of what it would take for them to do that, and I'm not willing to share that at this particular time, because we have a lot of questions that we need answered, And those are questions we need to have answered, not just with our staff and waste management, but with waste management and the city council and the citizens who might show up for that meeting. That being said, we would like to try to, in the next, hopefully next week, because I think the sooner the better, if we can get their representatives here, we could have a special meeting next week to have these questions answered, so we can go ahead and proceed with our budget discussion. Another budget discussion to be had, though, at the proper time, is that if we do decide to go with waste management, keep that one particular employee, whomever it may be. We have 5 other employees in that department, so what do we do with them? Do we suggest that they go to another department, but at this particular time there are no openings in other departments? So if we all of a sudden decide to have 5 additional employees in the Public Works Department, then of course that's a funding issue in the general fund. So a discussion for another day, of course. But nonetheless, if I'm looking at my calendar for next week, we already have a city council meeting Tuesday morning. We have our second budget meeting Wednesday afternoon. So what do your schedules look like for Thursday, perhaps?
I'm not good that week. I'm only, I could do the 13th or 14th, Monday and Tuesday.
How about the 14th, maybe a late afternoon meeting?
After our regular council.
Well, our city council meeting for the budget is 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So this would be an additional meeting later that afternoon.
I'm good with that.
I'm not available Tuesday afternoon. I have another commitment.
How about more like Tuesday, early evening, like 6 p.m.?
Yeah, that's what my commitment, I mean, that's what my commitment is, it's in Panama City at 6, so I'd have to leave.
Could we do a continuation of the 14th?
Extended council meeting?
Instead of council?
Yeah, just take it as, after we can close and then reopen.
No.
We could even have him be first on the agenda for Tuesday if you
Yeah.
decide.
That's best.
That's the best
That's
case
the best
scenario.
idea for me.
That works good.
Well, let me find out from him if he's available to come at that particular time then.
Should we have a backup plan so we don't
Yeah.
have to?
Should that not work, then perhaps Monday,
Yeah.
late afternoon, evening?
Right now, we're talking July 13th.
Yes, ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
I'm clear.
Monday's good for me as well.
I'm not clear on Monday. But I go on vacation on Thursday, so it's likely that I'll have to miss out on this one unless
Unless
Tuesday,
he can come in on Tuesday.
unless it's Tuesday. So all I'm saying is that
You don't have anything on Monday the 13th?
Yeah, I'm also not available on Monday the 13th, sorry.
Tuesday the 14th you are.
If we extend the council meeting, yes, but I'm not available in the evening.
So I think what I'm hearing, Mel, is if he's available, not maybe Tuesday morning for our regular meeting, but he might be available after lunch, we could have our council meeting and then Mayor reconvene. Is that what
Yeah,
I'm understanding?
That's fine.
I'm fine. I mean,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday.
We can do the same thing we did here. We can get and do our regular council meeting, take a 30-minute break, 20-minute break, whatever we want, and then come back. Is that good?
Or we can put him first on the agenda.
We can put it first at 9 a.m. and get it over with.
Yeah.
I would prefer that.
I'll check his availability. We'll adjust accordingly.
Okay.
So Tuesday the 14th.
Tuesday, the 14th at 9 a.m. is the optimum time. The second choice would be later on in the day, after our budget discussion. And should that not work, might shoot for Monday, but Mr. Fasano can't be.
Okay, then we're back in there on Wednesday. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. I'm good with that. Good,
Okay.
all right.
So sometime on Tuesday, to be announced, is sanitation.
Correct.
That is correct.
And just to be clear, it'd be great if they could be there at 9 AM, but also if like they can't make it until, say, 10,
10,
10:30, 11,
12.
at the end of the council meeting, that's also fine with me.
Okay.
I basically have the morning, I don't have any availability.
Oh, you're done by 5 o'clock.
All right, that's all I have.
With that said, anything else on the budget that anybody wants to bring up? Anything that we didn't cover maybe?
One thing I was thinking of, we planted the 1,500 extra, what was it, seals, the seal plants. We talked also about possibly doing a sand fence next to the dunes, and we were asking about grant money for that as well. We spoke to the man who had that company that provided the plans, and he also does the sand fencing. You know, we had that before the storm, and it kind of helps to hold the dune in place and helps to hold the sand. So that was something that we mentioned to him, but I don't know if it got any further than that.
Well, that's
Just as possible for grant money.
diagonal fan, okay.
Yeah.
They're like wing fences.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that in a lot of pictures.
I'm sorry, where were we
We
talking
would
about?
go all the way down the beach where the sand dunes are to help protect, to hold the sand
The
back,
entire length of the city.
except for the walkways, yeah.
Okay.
We did that before in the past.
That's how they were.
Hurricane took it all out. Yeah.
After
And
storm.
it does help to blowing sand.
It sure does.
Mhm.
It sure does. I just didn't remember
Yeah.
if we talked about the whole beach or part of the beach.
I would assume the whole beach, we could have them evaluated if we decided to go in that direction or
Yeah,
whoever
that-
we decided on.
I would send an email to the city administrator or staff either way and request that we view that as a grant thing.
Okay.
That's the best way for us as a council to do that.
When I
Send it
spoke to,
staff.
when I spoke to the man, he said there was still money left from the oil spill and another source as well, so,
Good.
so that could be a possibility.
I'll get it on my grant list, so we can have that discussion.
Cool.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Mike, your show.
Yeah, I'll be busy this weekend.
All right. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, guys.
Did I get the date wrong? I have Wednesday at 2 p.m.